Our final delivery of the season on CBC's Championship Curling. From Gävle, Sweden, the men's final at the Ford Worlds, the home country a major stake in the result today. Peter Lindholm, the two-time world champion, wears the home colors against Germany's Sebastian Stock. Germans looking for their first win ever. The Gävle Rinken is an old 4,000-seat barn, frigid, but the big Swedish contingent may heat it up today. Inside the Gävle Rinken in this city of 90,000 on the Baltic coast. They say it's a little cold in that arena for these fans, and they'll be Swedish in color today as they cheer on Peter or Pia Lindholm. You think it's cold in there? How about cold outside our home base at the CBC Broadcasting Center in Toronto, trying to emulate the weather in Scandinavia? Hi everybody, welcome to our coverage, live coverage of World Championship Curling, the men's final. I'm Scott Russell. The last time the World Championships were held in Sweden, the year was 1990. The town was Västerås, and that year a man named the Wrench won. That would be Eddie Wernick, the fireman from Toronto. There's a look at Eddie Wernick on the cover of Gene Sonmore's excellent book, Burned by the Rock, Inside the World of Men's Championship Curling. Great victory for the Wrench there in 1990. As you know, Canada's Mark Dacey was burned by Germany in the semi-final. It will not be a Canucks story today. Instead, we are left with a final between David, that would be Germany, and Goliath, that would be Sweden, the home team. Let's take a look at the route to the final. Round robin play, Canada's Mark Dacey cruised out of the Mayflower Curling Club in Halifax. He was 9-0. Next was the Olympic champion Paul Trolson of Norway at 7-2. Sweden and Germany 6-3. Lindholm gets third spot by virtue of his victory over Germany in round robin play. Semi-final, Sweden over Norway 8-6. Lindholm stole a couple in the 10th end. Then it was Canada, Germany in the next semi-final, and it was 4-4. Canada couldn't get away into the 7th end. Then look at this, an angle takeout, shooter skips away, but 4 yellow rocks remain. All of a sudden it is 8-4 for Sebastian Stock of Germany, and here is the clincher. Last stone he needs to deliver, takes out Mark Dacey. Sebastian Stock ends up winning 9-6, and that is a huge upset for the Germans, very young German team, over Mark Dacey of Canada. Well, the skips are really a study in contrast. Stock is only 26 years old, although he did play at the Olympic Games in 2002. Lindholm has won twice at the World Championships, 1997 and 2001. By the way, his first World Championship was over Germany in 1997. Oddly enough, the name of the skip there was Andy Capp. So they'll be rocking for the Tre Kronor in Sweden today. On hand, our own triple threat of Mark Lee, Joan McCusker, and Mike Harris.
Thanks, Scott. Experience could be a factor in today's men's final of this Ford World Curling Championship. The young rink from Germany in its first ever World Championship. Lindholm and the Swedes, very seasoned. They're already two-time world champions, and this is their 5th appearance in a world final. And Mike, I would think that the Swedes are under pressure to win here in front of their home crowd.
There will be tremendous pressure. This is going to be a huge vocal crowd. Many of them watching curling for the first time, and they're going to be very loud. And Pia Lindholm does have a lot of pressure being the home team, and especially now that he's in the final against Germany. If he is playing Canada, he may not be the overwhelming favorite that he is today.
Let's talk about the underdogs, this young German rink. They may be underdogs, but they're on a roll. They've won 6 in a row coming into this game. They've already knocked off Canada, and they've had a winning record against Lindholm in the past.
Well, they sure looked good yesterday in the semifinal. Played very well. All 4 members playing their best game here at the semifinal. They have played Lindholm before. They're European champions in 2002. They also represented Germany at the Winter Olympics in 2002. So they have some international experience, and they have success against Lindholm. They've beaten him 3 times in the last 4.
So is the key matchup then obvious at skip? The flamboyant Pia Lindholm versus this calm, cool, collected 26-year-old skip from Germany, Sebastian Stock.
Well, I think it is. And you look at calm, cool, and collected as an understatement. He's so relaxed, so easygoing out there, and they're very relaxed knowing that Pia Lindholm is the favorite. And contrasting severely to Pia, his intensity levels tend to increase year after year. He's got those steely eyes, and we're going to see it all day today. His concentration level will be taken to a new level today, and I don't know if he's going to be able to handle it or not, but certainly both teams are ready to play this game, and it should be a great matchup.
So this Tre Kronor team from Sweden, Pia Lindholm looking for its 3rd world title, and Sebastian Stock trying to bring Germany its first ever men's world championship in curling. Scott.
Mark, it's a Canadian game, or so they say, but Canada has fallen by the wayside. Instead, it's a David and Goliath story in Sweden. Germany tries to unseat the home team when we return to the men's final from Gävle.
Ford World Curling Championships live on CBC. Brought to you by Nokia, official wireless phone of the Season of Champions. By Karcher, you'll look for things to clean. And by Ford, built for life in Canada.
We're back to Gävle, Sweden, and there is the scene, this Baltic town of 90,000. Well, as you know, yesterday, Mark Dacey lost the semifinal to Germany. Today, he played in the bronze medal game against the Olympic champion, Paul Trolson of Norway. Large contingent of Norwegian fans on hand in this rink in Scandinavia. There is Paul Trolson, knocked off Kevin Martin at the Olympic Games in 2002. What a match that was. And now we're into the ninth end, and Canada is up 5-3 over Norway and set up for a big shot, the last rock of Mark Dacey out of the Mayflower Curling Club in Halifax, Nova Scotia. There's the delivery, and here is the result. Good sweeping, holds the rock, the double, the triple, and Mark Dacey sticks around for 4. That makes it 9-3 for Canada. On the left there, that's Heather Smith Dacey, Mark's wife, and they shake hands after 9. Paul Trolson and Mark Dacey, 9-3 final for Canada in the bronze medal match. We're ready for the final. Here are Mark Lee, Joan McCusker, and Mike Harris.
Thank you, Scott, and that may have been Mark Dacey's best game of this World Championship. Unfortunately, it came one day too late. He put on a brave face and found a silver lining, he said this morning, chatting after winning the bronze medal, that in fact he was the only team to win 10 games at this World Championship, and he's the first Canadian to actually win a bronze medal since they started competing, the 3 and 4 teams for that medal, after Kevin Martin, Jeff Stoughton, and Randy Ferbey all lost.
Oh, I think that's a very big game, and I think they looked into it that this is the last thing that we're going to think about as we go into the summer, and they played so very well, like they had all week, with the exception of yesterday's semifinal. They were the class of the field.
Here in the men's final, Germany and Sweden finished in a tie for 3rd in the round robin with 6-3 records. They flipped a coin, and the hammer will start with Germany as Peter Nera puts his first rock into the rings. Marcus Messenziel, 31-year-old teacher from Oberstdorf, with his first offering of this final. This German team lost to Sweden 7-3 during the round robin, and they all joked this morning as we had our pregame meeting that they probably curled 50% in that one, so they've psychologically discarded that game, coming in here on a roll, as we mentioned off the top, winning 6 in a row after a 1-3 start, a real rocky start to this World Championship.
We asked them about that rocky start, and they said they were having trouble getting used to the ice conditions. It took them a little while to catch on to the straightness of the ice here at the World Championships. Not a tremendous amount of curl, so they had to adjust their game plan and learn how to make shots.
Nice aggressive call here in the first end from Germany, throwing up the corner guard. That stone now over in the edge of the 8-foot. No risk of leaving a stone in the 4-foot area. They're going to take the game right away to Pia Lindholm.
Well, as Sebastian Stock said today, talking about the straight ice, you don't want to get behind, he said, because it's very hard to come back.
As a matter of fact, Pia Lindholm in his final game of the round robin needed to win to secure a playoff spot. He defeated the U.S. 2-1, 7 blank ends in the game, and he had the hammer in the first end. That was 0-0 after 5 ends, and Lindholm just ran up and down the sheet, and it was very difficult to create any offense. But you know, neither team decided to throw corner guard either, so it's nice to see that the Germans are going to take a chance and throw up a guard here in the first end.
It was a real barn burner.
Okay. 980. Bra snack, grabbar. Ja, 990. Kom kommer vara tjejning, mamma mal så.
Here's a comparison at second between these two teams. Stefan Knoll of Sweden, about 5% better than Magnus Swartling, or rather of Sweden, and Knoll of Germany. So very close at second.
This German team has an interesting system of substitution. They substitute 5 members, and we have seen this before with European teams, that they the lead position would alternate, but in this team they actually will alternate the lead and the second, a 3-person rotation.
In fact, Stefan Knoll did not play in that semifinal against Mark Basie. There's the decorated Swedish skip, Peja Lindholm. It's Magnus Swartling, Sweden.
Yep.
And his second shot of this opening end.
Ja, håll igång här. Hela vägen, grabbar. Upp, Mange. Bra, grabbar.
Simple takeout.
Ja. Fast gleich. Ich bin gleich, weil er gibt weniger Eis.
You wouldn't know there is that much of a gulf in experience between these two skips, the way they've competed through the semifinals.
Gleiche Länge.
With Sebastian Stock in his very first World Championship.
Niemals. Niemals.
Peja Lindholm, 5 World Championship final appearances, 7 times
Vill jag
to the World
köpen eller
Championships now.
vicken? Ja, lite vick kanske. Inte vick bakom.
And he's an explosive player.
Ja,
Really
normal.
lets his emotions
Very
run wild.
emotional, yes. Yeah, very emotional, which is good and bad. You get the intensity levels up, but if Germany can manage to get off to a good start here, you may see emotions go up and down a little bit with Peja, but he's very intense all the time, even in a regular game at a Bonspiel. We played him several times, and this team doesn't really very much. There's very high intensity all the time.
What we used to say was that all 4 of these members make the noisiest team that you will find in international play. They are constantly shouting at each other, the communication, it's all loud, they're all animated. None as much as Peja Lindholm. He is the most intense of the 4, but the 3 of them will support him, and they'll be high-fiving and talking back and forth, and there'll be no shortage of energy out there.
That's a good point, John. I mean, we talk a lot about Randy Furby's communication skills over the last few years, and this team, the Swedish team, is very good at communicating weight, and particularly the sweepers will be yelling back and forth to Peja throughout the course of the game, relating draw weight and things, such things. So they're very good at what they do, and they're one of the few European teams I think could compete at a national level and at the Canadian Championships, and they're a very, very good team.
And they've been together since they were kids. They won a World Junior title back in '89. They're all 34 years of age, rising through the ranks of curling together. It'll hit and roll into the 12-foot. Thomas Nordin. The German third, Daniel Herberg, an architect from Oberstdorf. The only member of this German team with previous World Championship experience back in '93 in Geneva when he was only 19.
Okay, wunderbar.
German rock will roll out.
Schade.
See, when we have a look at the amount of ice they've taken, Peja Lindholm's taking about 3.5 feet of ice, and we saw yesterday's final that in this particular spot the rocks did not curl very much. So, and this is exactly where Magnus Swartling missed his hit as well, didn't curl enough. So it looks like a lot of ice, but we've also seen some of the teams here don't throw very much rotation, do get the rocks to curl a bit more. We'll see where this one ends up. Taking a little less ice.
Peje Lindholm with his first stone here in the first end. They get by that guard. Lots of room to spare. To the edge of the 8-foot and partially buried.
And you can hear this crowd respond. They're very, very loud and very much into cheering on their champions. They'll have chants going.
He's already jacked up and he's just thrown one rock.
I say it's not unusual for him. He's really intense.
Sometimes that can go over the top. Getting so emotional and intense and playing to the crowd can sometimes be a negative thing. So we'll have to see how they manage it. It always works in your favor when you're making a tremendous amount of shots. What happens? How do you manage that energy and intensity when you miss some?
So not much to choose between these two skips in terms of their percentages over the last 8 to 9 days. 26-year-old Sebastian Stock, university student.
Good opening stone there from Sebastian.
Nice soft weight. Making fun of himself as he was losing his voice as he was calling on the sweep. That is a characteristic of this team. When we met with them, they like to have fun. In fact, what they said was, that's what we do. We work, we are students, we curl for fun, and it needs to be fun for us to compete.
They're spread out all over the place. I mean, Sebastian Stock lives in Bern. Herberg is an architect in Oberstdorf, Knowles in Oberstdorf, Messenziel in Oberstdorf, and Hoffman, who played in the semifinals in Winterthur, Germany. So they don't get together but once every 2 weeks.
Looking for the roll behind the corner guard.
May roll onto this red stone. Stay in the rings.
Go back on the edge of the 12-foot, right at the tee line.
Not a real big factor, though. Still a fairly easy blank for Sebastian Stock.
Being that this team is so spread out, it's really limited their chance to compete in major events. They've played some small bonspiels in Switzerland, but the Olympics in Salt Lake City was the first time they competed outside of Europe.
Yes, but they are based out of Oberstdorf, Germany. They grew up there. They're junior teammates and combination of junior teams. They do know each other very well, and they rely on that.
Yeah! Quick! Alles!
Stock looking to remove the stone, but he'll stay in and count one. So one end complete here at the Men's World Championship as the Germans get on the board first with a single in the first end.
The Gävle River, we're back on World Championship Curling on CBC. 1-0 for the Germans over Sweden going to the second end. Let's take you back to 1997, Bern, Switzerland. The first World Championship for Peje Lindholm of Sweden. He had taken control in the seventh end with a 4-ender. There's his final shot, and there is the demonstrative celebration as Sweden's Peje Lindholm wins 6-3 over Andy Kapp of Germany. That's the first World Championship for Lindholm. He won again in 2001, again in Switzerland. That time it was Lausanne. Right now, let's get you back to the booth in Sweden. Mark Lee, Joan McCusker, and Mike Harris.
Scott, back in '97, Lindholm knocked off Kevin Martin in the semifinal to get into that championship final.
Very similar to the semifinal yesterday with the Germans upsetting Canada. Lindholm made a fantastic shot against Kevin Martin.
Peter Narup, the Swedish lead, 34-year-old system designer in Akkorsborga. Get that right with the accent?
Good try, anyway.
Sure.
Two-time world champion, two-time world silver medalist, and of course, part of that junior world championship team from 1989. And we begin to get aggressive here in the second end.
Really nice to see both teams, no fear here in the second end.
Kurz aus! Ja, kurz! Hart! Hau gleich. Gut, ja, alles ganz nah hin. Ja, ja. Kurz. Ganz nah hin. Geht ja. Vielleicht rein. Hart! Geht rein. 8. Ja, 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 ja!
Just rubbing on the guard
Okay.
and biting the top of the 12-foot. You know, talking about the way this end is beginning with a bit more offensive style. The Germans were irked earlier this morning by a local curling publication here in Gävle with this headline: "Today, class shall beat force, Swedish finesse against German pig curling." We asked the Swedish officials here what pig curling means, and he said it's really a hockey term. They use pig hockey to describe boring defensive hockey, so they thought that the Germans played boring defensive curling, and they hence called it pig curling.
Well, I think that the Germans themselves will say that they are very strong hitters, but it doesn't mean that they don't play offensively with lots of rocks in play. And sometimes I think the reporting maybe by people that don't understand the game of curling and know that these two teams play each other a lot, and I think they play with a lot of rocks in play.
Yeah, they read that headline this morning with a little smirk on their faces.
So kind of some ammunition for the game, but I think even the Lindholm team would admit that both teams play fairly aggressive, and we've seen that already here in the first end. A lot of rocks in play early, and good call here from P. Lindholm to remove these two center guards.
Magnus Swartling cleaning the two German stones from the top of the rings.
Still a center guard out front, though, and Germany will try to go around.
Ja. Länge gut! So Länge! Vorne ab!
Stefan Knoll inserted into the lineup for this final after not playing against Mark Dacey in the semifinal.
We asked Sebastian Stock who makes the decision on what the lineup is, and they said it was up to their coach.
Okay.
They said, and we asked what the formula was, what the rotation was.
There's Patrick Hoffman, the fifth today, his lead in the semifinal, and that big 9-6 win over Mark Dacey.
We asked the team what was the formula for the rotation. They said, no formula, we have no idea. In fact, go ask the coach, and then you come back and tell us what the formula is, if you can figure it out. So always determined by the coach.
Magnus Swartling, a 34-year-old systems developer in Östersund, a northern Swedish city that made a bid years back for the Olympic Winter Games. He'll hit and stick on the edge of the 4-foot.
I heard Lindholm yelling sweep. He would like to have had that rock roll a little further away from that center guard.
Ist obere Grenze. Nee, ist normal.
More weight than they were asking for.
Okay.
Daniel Herberg will hit and roll out. Thomas Nordin, 34, a data consultant. All 4 members of this team are involved in computer programming and software systems.
Not only have they played together since they were 11 or 12 years old, they're the same age, they're in the same business, and they are best friends.
Stone is buried, but 6 feet deeper than Lindholm would have liked.
Platz! Vorne Bier! Warten! Vorne Bier! Läuft was! Bisschen noch Braucher! Ja! Nur Länge! Genau Freeze! Genau Freeze! Hardline! Quick! Go hard! Go hard! Go quick!
3 of them working hard to try to drag that to the button.
Okay.
And they've got it.
Good shot.
Behind cover.
The original call was top 4, and then he was hanging out. They tried to get that stone right back for a freeze. Just a small opportunity here for Sweden to follow that down and tap it out in lie 2. Very difficult shot, though. Didn't miss that guard by much. Actually playing the run back.
Oh, he's got it. To lie 2.
And to avoid the jam on the back, that is a fantastic shot. Support of the statistic, Thomas Nordin, #1 of the cumulative stats for the round robin, first among the thirds. With shots like that, you can see why.
Experienced 7 world championships and 3 junior world appearances at only 34.
That shot forces Sebastian Stock to the same out-turn freeze. He'd like to get this all the way back this time, right back to that yellow stone on the center line for a freeze.
And even though that'll give Sweden the opportunity to freeze on top of his stone, if he makes it perfectly, at least he'll take the multiple score out of the picture. This is important that Germany get this rock down to the freeze, to the face.
Nur Länge.
Only for weight, they're saying.
Bis drauf! Drauf muss er. Linie ist nicht schlecht. Kommt alles. Hart! Bis Freeze! Darf nicht tucken, darf nicht tucken. Tuckt nicht. Ja, alles. Tuckt nicht. Ja! Alle weiter!
Sweeper's really working this stone. Not quite to the forefoot.
Not bad. Would like to have it curl another 3 or 4 inches.
Ja, okay, war schwer zum Sehen. Schade.
Sebastian Stock beat Lindholm twice in those 2002 European Championships in the round robin and again in the final.
Good look. There is room for Lindholm to come by the guard tightly and tap that red stone straight back. Very delicate shot, particularly on this ice this week. It's been very straight with any type of weight above draw weight.
Lindholm always taking this much time in the hack. This is his routine.
He's actually getting quicker. Or believe it or not, it used to be unbelievably slow in the hack, and now he's we'd call him methodical now, but it used to be forever, an eternity before you actually take the rock back and throw it.
Lindholm, 34-year-old computer system developer, Married and the father of 2, and they're all here today as these sweepers are all over his stone to get it by the guard. Lindholm can't get it by. He'll hit and roll to the tee line.
And you see how he just rubbed the guard and only made it to the tee line. Might have been a little less weight than he was planning on throwing.
Still a lot of pressure here on Stock. He needs to get this stone partially buried into the full 8-foot to not allow Lindholm a shot for 3 or 4.
Yeah, this is shaping up to a big Swedish end.
He needs to get this stone right into the full 8-foot to negate these 3 stones.
Line is important as well, because if it does hang out like his first one, it could leave a double as well.
Huge shot here in the second end.
Challenge the poise of this rookie skip, 26-year-old Sebastian Stock.
Back 4, back 8 is what they're saying. Back 4, back 8.
Can he get Germany out of trouble? Calls his sweepers off.
Don't know what to do with it at this stage.
The back of the 4-foot, still line 2.
He's nervous. He's wondering if he set up a double. I think there is a double for 2, possibly 3, depending on how Lindholm hits it.
Dubblar ni bara för 2 ändå? Ja.
There is a risk of playing the double for Lindholm that he doesn't make the double. He may end up giving up a steal of 2. So
looking at the double coming in, getting rid of these.
may lose his own yellow at the back and by playing that, but at the same time, if he heads a little too thick, jam it on that back yellow stone, you end up giving up a steal of 2. So I think he's electing just to draw for 1.
What do you make of that strategy?
I think it's prudent. You know, you'd hate to get down 3 in a game like this, especially the type of player that Peja is, and he knows that this is a fairly simple shot for 1.
Minska en center. Nej, minska.
Lindholm with the last rock of the second end. Facing 2 German counters.
A little tight for line.
Oh, they're working this one hard. Coming very close to the guard. Very close indeed.
He's by.
To the button. Hit. He's got it.
Great sweeping by Swartling in there.
So Peja Lindholm with a draw with some backing to the button for 1 here in the second end, and we're all tied at 1 after 2.
Eastern semis on HNIC. Montreal at T-Bay, 4 Eastern, followed by the Leafs at Philly. Lightning and Flyers have 1-0 leads. And of course, Coronation Street will be seen immediately after the curling on some CBC stations. You know, the BBC is reporting that curling's so big in Canada, it knocks Coronation Street out of its regular time slot, but not, we assure you, off the air. Back to Gävle.
Thank you, Scott. And speaking of hockey, a lot of fans here interested in the Montreal Canadiens and Andreas Dackel. Of course, former player with the Bernays team. 1-1 after 2 ends, and Germany escaping what looked potentially to be a devastating end set up there for Sweden.
Great shot by Stock on his first one to put some pressure on Lindholm, but he also missed opportunity from Peja. It wasn't an impossible shot to lie 3 there, but 2 nice shots from the German skip to avoid early trouble.
And the whole end set up by Thomas Nordin. Great shot.
Marcus Messenziel, a 31-year-old school teacher in Oberstdorf. teaching for 6 years now, and was telling us it's awfully hard to get time off during the school year to compete as a curler. And it's amazing that they've been able to assemble this young team considering their lack of competition and get this far.
They did say that's why they have a 5-person team. It's because there are 2 teachers among them, and they could get time off for national and international playdowns, but Bonspiels, that was not allowed.
Super mess. Gärna kalla lite grann. Känns tid! Lite mer än tid. Rent ett tag till. Bakan upp. Inte rara. Bakan vitt. Kommer nu helt upp. Bakan vitt. Tål inget. Bakan vitt. Tål inget. Bakan vitt. Tål ingenting. Bakan vitt. Inte rara då. Bakan rött nästan. Okej. Bra snack grabbar.
There's Stephen Joyce, the son of Ron Joyce, the owner of Fox Harbor Golf Club, where Mark Dacey is the pro, and Stephen and his father and about 10 fans of Mark Dacey flew over in Ron Joyce's private jet to be here for the weekend. Ron Joyce, of course, the former CEO of Tim Hortons.
I think Mark's trying to hop a ride back too to avoid the multiple connections on the way home to Halifax as well.
Maybe that's the negotiation process happening right there. Okay, Stephen, do I have a deal for you?
You stay and go to the banquet. I'll take your seat.
It's a nice shot.
The Germans buried on the button behind cover.
Little mistake there from Peter Narup. We saw the freeze attempt come a little wide and heavy, allowing Germany a chance to draw a second stone into the rings. Palin looking at the angles on the raise, and difficult shot not to without losing his own stone in the rings. The options aren't very good though. Otherwise, I think he needs to play this run back.
Yep. Up.
Magnus Swartling with the run back. He gets the top stone and rolls out.
Did a good job avoiding his stone in the rings, but to do so, he had to leave the center guard up. And
advantage comes back to Germany here.
And again, Sebastian Sachs is ignoring that stone at the edge of the 8-foot, which is again a great. I think it's really good. Shows some good strategy.
Here's the other teacher on this German team, Stefan Knoll. Teaches grades 7 to 9 in Oberstdorf.
Back 4, back 8 is what they're saying for weight.
It's a great line, just too heavy.
2 German stones in the 4-foot. Germany lies 2.
Sweden has a chance to get out of trouble now.
Yeah.
Normal weight double.
Able to either make the double, or if they can hit and stick around, their shooter will be in front of the tee line.
Lite åt det lösa hållet. Ja, lite lös. Lös den av. In i vägen. Nu är det viktigt. Allt för det.
Thomas Nordin looking for the double. Just past his guard. No, he nicked it.
Oh.
And rolls out, taking his own stone with it.
Worst possible result for Magnus Swartling.
You watch, the guard is still there.
Just clipped it.
Comes in and removes his own, so nothing was accomplished on that one, and in fact he hurt himself by removing his own stone as well.
We often talk about rotation on the rock, and I know in yesterday's show we were talking about that, especially with the Norwegian team. and the lack of rotation causing the rocks to curl more. This Swedish team we've watched many times, Pia Lindholm's team, and their rocks will curl a lot, especially on their interns. It's the way that they deliver them and throw them. With the lack of rotation, they'll curl a tremendous amount. Great chance here for Germany.
Germans, of course, have the hammer here. It's a good spot. I'd like to have that stone curl a little bit more and get partially buried. Still a double opportunity here for Sweden. Another big shot required here from Thomas Nordin.
So Thomas Nordin gets a second chance with his second rock.
Needs to curl.
Gets one. And there are the new World Senior Women's Champions from Cambridge, the Ann Dunn rink. Lindy Marchuk, Gloria Campbell, Fran Todd, Carol Thompson enjoying this men's final today. Second World Seniors title for Ann Dunn of Cambridge. The men, of course, the Boz Buckle rink also won for Canada, so it was a sweep of the senior titles this year in Gävle.
Vorne 8 bis vorne 4. Oh, T-Line. Fast T-Line. Nein, ist gut. Oh, kein Strich. Sehr viel vorne 4, T-Line. T-Line. Nix. Kein Strich. Muss ficken. Immer noch. Fast hinten 4. Ja. Länger Stocki. Ja.
A little deeper this time with 3 rocks now for Germany in the forefoot.
Not positioning the stones very well here, and the Germans aren't, but they've had a couple of misses from Sweden. Still at a very difficult position here for Sweden. I don't think they can make a double without the shooter rolling away, but they do need to make sure that they get rid of a couple or have the shooter perhaps roll buried.
Now Nordin with his second rock of this third end.
Tougher double than it looks if they want to stay.
Trying to get Sweden out of trouble here.
May even get lucky here with 3 of them.
He'll spill 2 and roll out.
Not a bad shot, but again, still a great chance here for Germany.
Germany has thrown this draw several times, and each time they've either been a little bit too heavy or a little bit wide. Now's a good chance to get this rock buried.
Daniel Herberg, a 30-year-old architect living in Oberstdorf. Mentioned he was the only member of the team with previous World Championship experience. In 1993, he's a 2-time World Junior silver medalist and a bronze medalist of the juniors in 93.
All over the guard here. No, this is not close at all.
It was very poorly thrown. You could see it right when he let it go. Straight inside, right from the word go, inside and light.
If there was one criticism of this German team, it was they were a better hitting team than they were a finesse team.
Good chance here for Lindholm to get out of trouble. Exactly the same situation we had last end, where Stock was able to come through with a nice freeze. Now Lindholm's turn. See if he can answer the call. And as you mentioned, Jones, Lindholm's rocks will curl. There's no doubt about that.
Especially on the intern. You see how far back he even holds the handle.
When we used to play against them, we said if they ever buried one on the intern side, it's virtually impossible to follow for most Canadian teams who throw it with a little more rotation. It's almost impossible to follow them.
Front end trying to bring this Swedish stone past the guards. They're by.
Very nice shot.
Tap the Germans out to be shot rock.
And for the first time, take control of this end.
So things were looking very scary there for Lindholm before this stone. You can see the stone just coming in sideways.
Okay, stop sweeping now. Stop sweeping now. These are very, very good sweepers as well. Magnus Swartling and Peter Narup have always played lead and second, and that they save no energy for the end. They give all that they have all the time.
And you see young Suck not even trying to go after that stone. Double off the guards, roll away, see what Sweden will do, and they'll have an open shot more than likely for one.
Yeah!
Nice shot.
Lassen sitzen!
So now Stock leaves the Swedish stone exposed.
Stock wanted his shooter to stick around, and I think he was thinking that maybe he need to use it on his last rock and drive it in if Pia Lindholm had made the guard.
I just like to draw. I don't know. Coming in off the sideboards, I think you can draw the button too. But
yeah, I don't understand why he needed that, but
this is an aggressive call as well. Another option here for Lindholm would be just to raise the stone he just threw and lie two and force Germany to one. The risk here is, of course, if you miss the guard, Germany may have a light tap back for two.
Pia Lindholm's last rock here in the third.
This is close over curling.
Establishing a guard, but that Swedish rock is about half open.
Germany would need to get to the face of that stone, past the face, to be able to get the 2 points.
Ein bisschen weniger. Knapp vorbei und dann.
Just playing T-line weight, straight draw.
Mit T-Line. Dann ist vielleicht da.
So we had talked to Germany. They were complaining about the ice being too straight. I just don't think that they think they can get their intern to cut enough to make the soft finesse shot to get 2 points.
Okay, ja.
Yeah, it's not a very difficult shot for one, but it's extremely difficult for two.
Hinten 8. Ja, hinten 4.
Back 4, back 8 is the weight.
Ja! Ja! Hinten 8. Ja! Ja! Go hard! Ja! Alles!
Sweeping it for a line to get by that.
They have a chance for two.
It's passed.
Oh,
And they chip this one just past.
close.
Oh, not quite.
Very tough shot for two. Great shot for one, though.
Well done.
So Sweden dodges a bullet in the third end. And the young 26-year-old Sebastian Stock has a draw for one to retake the lead through 3 ends of this Ford World Championship men's final. It is 2-1 Germany.
The city center in Gävle, Sweden. World Championship curling continues on CBC. After 3 ends of play, Germany's Sebastian Stock has a 2-1 lead over Pia Lindholm of Sweden. And we go back to the rink in Gävle, and there is the bronze medalist from the Mayflower Curling Club in Halifax, Nova Scotia, Mark Dacey. Mark, I understand, first of all, that you got a little lobster over there in order to prepare for this big World Championship.
Yeah, on Friday afternoon, evening, I guess, my employer, Ron Joyce from Fox Harbor, flew over with 10 people, and they brought some Atlantic lobster and some, some other assorted seafood, and we had a good old time back at his hotel room on Friday night.
Beautiful, Mark. Let's accentuate the positive first, and 9-0 in the round robin for Team Canada. and then you win the bronze medal game against Paul Trolson, the Olympic champion, 9-3. You shake hands after 9 ends. For your first World Championship, how did you feel about the level of play where you dominated at times?
Well, you know, we played extremely well. We were very happy and proud of the way we performed. But, you know, it's unfortunate that, you know, the format is such where you have to face elimination in a semifinal. And we just weren't as sharp as we had been all week on Saturday. And the German team came out and they were on fire. And, you know, when you get one team that's on fire and another team that's just a little off, you know, it's pretty easy for a little upset like that to happen. But we regrouped, and we were really proud of the way we performed this morning, and had a real strong finish against Trolson.
How about a look at that Sebastian Stock team? They're very young, but they're good, aren't they?
Oh yeah, they bring a good finesse game, but they also got the huge peel weight, and when they get a lead on you, they don't let a lot of rocks stay in play. So you better make the most of every opportunity you got, and ideally you wouldn't fall behind, which is what we did. And it was unfortunate, but again, you know, we first World Championships, and we learned a lot from it.
Mark, I have to ask you about what you alluded to earlier, and that's the possibility of the advent of the Page playoff system at the next World Championships in Victoria, where the 1-2 teams sort of get a little bit of an advantage. Do you favor that, and if so, why?
Oh, well, definitely. I mean, back, you know, prior to 1980, the round-robin winner used to win, or at the Brier, I guess. There wasn't even a playoff, and then once they started a playoff format, the winner of the round-robin got a bye to the final. And then they went to the Page in '95, where the winner of the round robin was guaranteed at least a semifinal appearance. And here, all you're guaranteed is 4th place. So it kind of seems like the round robin winner has not that much importance, at least in this event. So they're going to the Page certainly puts more importance on doing well in the round robin. But again, we learned from this year and know that it's the playoffs that count. I mean, there's a lot of great sports teams in every sport that have a great regular season and lose out early in the playoffs. You know, my Bruins being one of them this year, unfortunately. But you know, we lost to the circumstances and had a tough game yesterday. But we're still pretty proud of ourselves and happy that we were here.
On a final note for you, Mark, you played very well this morning. That combined with the Brier win in Saskatoon, your hometown. And this first taste of big international curling, does this really gear you up for a shot at the Olympic Games at the trials next year?
Well, it sure does. I mean, our team, again, we've only been playing together for 2 years, and to play in the Brier final twice and to win it once and to go to the Worlds and finish with a medal and dominate the round robin, I mean, we're a team that's growing and maturing, and we got, you know, lots of room for improvement. So as we improve, we're just going to become tougher and tougher to beat, and we're looking forward to the continued events that we get to play in.
Mark, congratulations on your play in Gävle, and have a great trip back to the Mayflower in Halifax, Nova Scotia.
Thanks, Scott. I appreciate it very much.
All right, there's Mark Dacey, the bronze medalist at the World Championships. Let's get you back to the booth in Gävle.
Thank you, Scott. And that bronze medal, certainly some consolation for a very disappointed Mark Dacey. And he really has nothing to be ashamed of when you think he's in pretty good company when it comes to prior champions who tried and did not win the World Championship in their first try, the likes of Vic Peters, Randy Furby, and Kevin Martin.
Well, it certainly wasn't from lack of effort. Those 4 members of the Mark Dacey team tried their best. They had a terrific attitude and worked very, very hard in this championship, and perhaps showed the most class by coming out today and working hard at playing their best for that bronze medal. They did themselves proud today by winning that game.
Sorry, what do you think of the advent of the Page system next year?
Oh, I think it's a tremendous improvement in the world play, and any of us that have been here at the Worlds, and it's just so darn scary playing in that semifinal. And you wanted some sort of reward for the 9 games that you played in the round robin instead of being on an even playing field with whoever came forth. So I think it's a wonderful improvement, and I hope it always will come down to one sudden death game. That's what the way the sport is these days, is it'll be the final, and sometimes it'll be the team with not as good record that'll win. But at least you'll have a second chance at proving yourself.
Big miss there by Stefan Knoll, Germany.
Yeah, this is an end that's turning in Sweden's favor now. They've got a chance to lie free, and you continue to see the teams with last rock have great opportunities here early in the game. You just get the feeling eventually one of them's going to take advantage.
Second end looked like the Swedes were going to gang up. Third end, the Germans. And it's been 1-for-1 here and a 2-1 German lead in the fourth.
That's one of the big characteristics of great hitting teams, that they're able to get out of trouble. And we see it time and time again at the Brier as well with, you know, you look like you're lying 2 or 3 and the next thing you know there's a double or triple made, and we've seen that now a couple of times. Combine that with a couple of nice touch shots. Lindholm looking for a split.
Trying to spread out his rocks in front of the tee line, but just across the house.
Sweden lies 3.
Not a bad shot. They would have liked those stones a little further apart. Can leave Germany a chance for a double and leave their shooter right in front of that stone at the top of the 4-foot. If they hit it thin enough, they might actually be able to get the ball.
He's wide. Might just come through the hole and get the one at the back.
Daniel Herberg gets 2 anyway.
Not the 2 he was looking for, though, and he leaves that yellow stone, yellow Swedish stone, mostly buried behind the corner guard.
Very fortunate to have removed any rock with that throw. He could have just slightly rubbed. Big weight, though, and what we saw, as we were saying, this ice is very, very straight. And when you throw that big peel weight, it'll actually fall off the path.
If anyone's showing nerves today, it looks like Daniel Herberg. He has not been playing well. He's missed a couple of opportunities to put some pressure on Sweden last end. Missed a come around in the second end as well. And of course, there's a miss there. Just seems to be overthrowing everything.
Right now, Nordin is out curling Herberg 88 to 61%.
You know, Germany's in a position now in this end where they're almost going to be handing Sweden 2 points.
Härligt.
Herberg trying to roll behind the cover of that Swedish stone, and he won't get there.
Sweden may be looking for the hit and roll in behind, but this would again leave Stock an opportunity to get out of trouble by playing a freeze. You may see Sweden hit and roll back into the open.
That is the call. The call is to roll back to where it was.
Thomas Nordin will hit, move, and lie at the back of the 12-foot.
Very nice shot.
Such a difference in the takeout weight used. Thomas Nordin and the very soft kind of board weight for his takeout. And Daniel Herberg from Germany using very big takeout weight.
Looking for a nose hit here, and if it does not shot, we may be able to see Sweden come down with a freeze, have a chance to lie 3. Needs to roll a little bit towards the center line, I believe, to get shot rock here.
Yep. Yeah. Whoa. Yep. Whoa.
Oh, it's very close. I think red is shot.
You'll see Sweden come down and tap it out now because of that.
So things setting up for Sweden to get their 2 points. And you will know it in this building if they do. The crowd will be going crazy.
Certainly one of the biggest crowds ever to watch a championship match in Sweden. It's the third time the World Championships have been held in this country. Shake on his hand as he lets it go. Not what Lindholm wanted. Is he biting on the back of that 12-foot?
Well, it's going to make a big difference as to what Sebastian Stock calls if it's in the rings. Stock may be forced to play a come around. If it's out, he could play a run back. It looks like it's on.
I think the run back is so difficult. I think he was looking at the draw regardless, Mike.
Yeah. Yes, at least the option would have been there, but yes, as mentioned, Joan, I think out-turn come around is a good call here for Stock. They've thrown it a few times. They saw it in the second end. Difficulty is they're actually drawing around the yellow stone. The guard really isn't in play. They're trying to draw right around that yellow Swedish stone.
Discussing what weight to throw, as we've seen many times in arena ice. Draw weight will be slightly different as you go out to the wings.
Have we seen much frost in the wings?
Platz ist gut, viel Platz. Gegeben. Viel Platz.
A little bit.
Aufpassen. Wie lange ist
But we
das?
certainly haven't had this many people in the building this week as well.
Nur Länge.
Just for weight.
Set.
There's finishing hard now.
It's a good shot.
Very nice shot.
They would have liked it tighter to the guard and curl a little bit more, but nice weight.
Lindholm just going to follow him down, tap at a foot. Need to move it about 6 to 8 inches to get shot.
He certainly did not have very much weight on his last tap back attempt.
A similar weight actually would be fine.
Probably, yes.
A light tap.
We also just saw Germany's shot by Sebastian Stock take its time curling. But as I said before, this Swedish team tends that their rocks will curl more than other teams.
Peja Lindholm steadying himself, as he always does in the hack. His last rock here in the fourth end, looking for a deuce. Pretty tight, lots of room there.
Nice shot.
Very nice.
Nose hit the stick for 2. And the first multiple point end of this men's final. Sweden takes the lead for the first time, 3-2 over Germany through 4.
Back with World Championship curling coverage, the men's final from Gävle, Sweden. After 4 ends, Lindholm has a 3-2 lead over Stock of Germany. Coming up in the 5th end break, Kiwis and curling. Also, the fans of the Far East and their brand new stars will have a Canadian connection to curling on the Pacific Rim. That's at the break. Now we're back to the booth, and right there are Mark Lee, Joan McCusker, and Mike Harris. Take it away, Mark.
Thank you, Scott. Good thing we're up near the ceiling, because I think all the hot air has risen up here in this very cold rink. the Gävle Rinken. And a 1-point lead for the home team in a near capacity crowd.
It's not quite enough warm air for me, actually. I wish they'd turn it on a little bit.
Well, just keep talking, we'll have some more.
Oh, I used to like you too.
That was a big deuce for Germany, or for Sweden in the fourth end. First time they've been leading in the game.
Great momentum swings already in this game.
Scott was talking about the growth of curling and how they're going to look at that. The Asian countries. And we talked to the Germans about the state of the game in Germany, and they say there are only about 800 registered curlers. Not all of them curl. Only 4 true curling clubs. They happen to curl on a hockey rink in Oberstdorf.
Well, it's been a great experience here. You're seeing so many countries now televising curling around the world, and there's being broadcast in 6 or 7 languages up here behind us. It's really a big change in the last few years. Certainly exposure from the Winter Olympic Games helps.
The Winter Olympics helps, and they're hoping that the splitting up of the men's and the women's World Championship will also help the exposure in Europe, when there's always going to be a World Championship in Europe.
What do you think about that? This is the last time the men and women are together at a World Championship since they came together back in, I think it was '88. Now the women will be in Paisley, Scotland next year in a small curling rink, and the men will be in Victoria.
Well, I certainly have mixed feelings. I feel very, very sad that the event is being separated, because it is a wonderful international event, and it's great that when the men and the women play together, because I think that a lot of respect is developed, and it helps the women's game, that the men see that we can play this game, and the level of competitiveness. So it's been good, but if we want the sport to grow and we want it to reach more countries, we need to have more countries at the World Championship. Therefore, we need to separate it to give the room for both the men's and the women's side to get bigger. And as I had just said, the other point is having a World Championship in Europe every year may help the game grow. It'll be on Eurosport every year, it's hoped, and perhaps develop more sponsors, and therefore develop more curlers. That is the thinking, and I sure hope that that's what happens. How about you, Mike?
I agree. I think it's a good thing at the end of the day. I think certainly the players are disappointed. I'd say it's a very fun event for a lot of the curlers, but I think it can't help but help grow the sport worldwide. And I'd like to see. I think we'd all like to see the events in bigger facilities and growing. But you know, certainly in its first year, it's going to be interesting. An interesting experiment to see what actually happens with the sport as the 2 championships have now been separated.
Certainly in terms of television, it keeps the focus on the women and then the men, not competing for the same airtime.
Yes, so and therefore there's more airtime, there's more exposure, which is the good news. The only thing that I was saddened by was the size of the arena that it was designated for the women's event. I would have been hopeful that it was a bigger place for their first championship, but that may be something that they weren't able to control very much.
What's the capacity? 800, I think?
850 in Paisley, and I think Paisley's going to be a great location. I think they'll
the
fill
birthplace of curling in Scotland.
Exactly, and I think they'll fill it in Scotland. That would be a great start. And I would hope that it's bursting, and they learn that we should put it in a bigger place.
Yes, it was right on the frozen river outside the Abbey in downtown Paisley back in, I believe, the 1500s. The Scots first threw the rocks. The roaring game. Another interesting end developing here in the 5th.
A lot of red German stones in play again, and again, team with the hammer seem to have an advantage. Double attempt, or hit and roll attempt here rather, from Sweden, trying to hit and roll into the 4-foot area.
Hit roll, move them around, and Sweden is line 1.
That did not work out very well for Sweden.
Those are lined up for a double.
Fairly easy double opportunity here for Germany.
Ej. Og den mit pil! Nase oder leicht außen. Mit der Halbfall so. Nein, zu weit außen ist blöd.
So a chance for a double and for the shooter to stay.
Genau, Nase ist ideal, Stefan.
Germany would lie 3. You heard the call, looking for their peel weight. This German team can throw big weight very well.
Ja, hard. Alles hard.
Takeout for Stefan Knoll. Can he get both
Und leicht drüber.
Swedish stones? Yes. And Germany lies 3.
Germany knows that they need to keep up with the middle of this Swedish team. The second and the third need to play as well as Magnus Swartling and Thomas Nordin.
Looking for a double of their own. May even get lucky with all 3 here.
Nordin gets the double.
Good shot.
Curling in the high 80s.
Nur 13. Yep.
And now to 91% for Nordin, to 63 for Herberg. That takeout.
Daniel really needs to make two consecutive shots here in this 5th end.
Riyad! Alles! Quick! Riyad! Wow!
Hit
And
and roll.
That looks like a made shot, but that's a miss. They should have. They were looking to nose that stone, not roll in there and group these stones together. Easy double for Sweden. Get out of trouble.
Spelaren! Gärna en liten tum där, men även den går ju. Enhållning.
So Thomas Nordin asked for another double here in the 5th.
Yep, yep. 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 Yep.
He's got it.
Got them both. Back up to the edge of the 12-foot to lie 1 for Sweden.
Schneller! Weg! Schneller!
Herberg to take out the Swedish shot rock in the 12-foot.
And
And roll out.
anticipating a very simple decision on the next shot, either Herberg was going to hit and stick or roll out. Peja Lindholm has already made his way down to the skip, the throwing end to throw his rocks. This Swedish team always in time trouble, and you can see why. They take a lot of time in the hack, each of them do, to throw the rocks, and so Peja needs to take advantage of the very simple ends to get down and save a little bit of time.
He's already used almost 3 minutes more than Stock and Germany.
Doesn't want to come up short here and leave Stock an opportunity to play a come around. Sweeper's working really hard.
3 sweepers on this stone for Sweden. Dragging it into the rings.
Great rushing.
We talked about the matchup today. It skips. The rookie Stock is ahead of the veteran Lindholm at this point in the match.
Bisschen positiv. Normal, ist normal.
there are the numbers for the skips. 84% for Stock, 72% for Lindholm.
Den nimmt der eh. Okay. Schön, Stocki. Ausschlag 12-2. Dann hängen. Ja, und normal. Ja.
Lindholm's last rock here in the 5th.
Looking to hit and roll into the rings. Very nice shot.
Bisschen mehr. Schwingt da ganz gut drauf. Da beim Stefan gesehen.
Do you take one or do you blank?
We definitely blank. Stock would like to retain the advantage of the last rock as he goes into the 6th end and hopefully be able to capitalize on some of these opportunities they've had with the hammer. A couple of nice doubles there from Thomas Nordin to get the Swedes out of trouble. Blank attempt in the 1st end, and in turn was nosed by German skip. Looking to throw this a little better.
Last stone here in the 5th end for Sebastian Stock of Germany.
Okay.
Looks good.
And he will blank the end and retain the hammer in the 6th. So some potentially big looking ends foiled by some great escapes through the first 5 ends of this men's final. And it's a 1-point game. The underdogs trailing the favored Swedes 3-2 through 5 as we join Scott Russell.
Mark, Sweden trying for a triple crown of world championships. They've got 3 on the board now. Stay with us. World Championship curling continues on CBC. We're at the 5th end break, the men's final between Sweden and Germany, and right now Sweden has a 3-2 lead over Germany. Once again, the score after 5 ends. And here is Joan McCusker with the Swedish skip, Pia Lindholm.
Thanks, Scott. Pia Lindholm, any nerves a factor here with this tremendous hometown crowd?
No, it's just great to play with the crowds here. It's like a dream come true for us, playing the world final here in Sweden. That's marvelous.
Now, this young German team, you haven't had a great record against them, losing to them 3 times out of the last 4 events. How are you playing them differently this week?
Not really. We're focusing a lot on our own game, and we played them in the first game here at Gävle, and we had a very, very good game. And I'm a little bit surprised they're playing as offensive as they're doing, but that's the way curling should be played.
How would you expect the last 5 to go?
It's going to be like the first 5, I would say. And we have to play very strong. They lead second, third, and me, and they have to play strong too. But we will be here for winning, and if we're not winning, that's because the German team was a lot better than us.
Well, thanks a lot.
Pia Lindholm's version of the wave, he lets his emotion show, and he leads by 1 over Sebastian Stock of Germany. World Championship Curling on CBC will continue in a moment. There's a live look at the rink in Gävle, Sweden, the 2004 Ford World Curling Championships, the men's final through 5 ends of play. It is 3-2 for Sweden's Pia Lindholm over Sebastian Stock of Germany, and there's Lindholm's 2 in the 4th end, which is the big story here. Great shot, and the crowd really responded to that. 3-2 for Lindholm of Sweden over Sebastian Stock of Germany. It's a Canadian game, curling, that is, and while that's true, the mark that this country makes on the roaring game goes well beyond the number of championships won. It's all about sowing the seeds of competition throughout the world. When you think of New Zealand, you probably think of scenes like this. Or this. You may not have thought of this, the roaring game. New Zealand is one of 2 Pacific Rim countries at this year's World Championships.
It's not known very widely, but curling's a very old sport in New Zealand. It's still curled the way it was traditionally curled in Scotland and Canada 120 years ago. And we picked up the international game about in the early 1990s.
The 1990s also saw curling become an Olympic sport, and the exposure of the Nagano Games were to dramatically raise the profile of the mainly unknown sport in the Pacific region.
Curling's really changed in the Pacific countries after Nagano because mainly of the television broadcasts. Before in New Zealand, nobody even really knew what curling was, but after the Nagano Olympics, everybody knew.
All of a sudden there's a whole new medal to go for, and in the world of sport, Asia feels that curling is an achievable medal, so they are putting a lot of energy, a lot of money into trying to get one of those curling medals.
There are other Canadians working to develop this sport, which is rising in the East. A competitor in the 1979 Brier, Fuji Miki, now steers the Japanese women's team. The big challenge for him is getting his team tested in elite-level play.
There's not enough good competitions in Asia. Certainly not in Japan. You'll find that all the European countries, the Asian countries, they're training in Canada. This is where the competition is.
Sean Becker appreciates the value of that. On his way to Sweden, this year's Pacific Curling champion stopped in Calgary for a Canadian tune-up.
By rights, Canada's the best country, like the best curling country in the world, and to get up to that sort of performance level we have to get at the World Championships, Canada's a great place to start.
From his vantage point, Coach Miki sees energy and enthusiasm being put into this new game. That, combined with some Canadian know-how, means a good future for curling along the Pacific Rim.
I think that what's basically going to happen is that you're going to find that the level of curling in the Pacific nations is going to go up quite dramatically over the next couple of years.
The winds of change are blowing in curling's world. 3-2 Sweden. We're back to Gävle in a moment. Up the Baltic coast from the Scandinavian city of Gävle, Sweden. 3-2 for the Swedes over Germany after 5 ends. Here's Joan McCusker with the German skip.
I'm with Sebastian Scott. There was some talk that you would be playing a very defensive game today. What did you think about that?
Oh, well, you know, against those guys, they are playing really well. And yesterday we were going at Canada and we were going for it, and that was the game plan for today as well. Now we got the hammer, we are down 1, everything's possible, so we are hot, we are going for it. We'll have our chances again and then we'll make it.
How did you get ready for this international competition?
Oh, we had some tournaments in Switzerland and Germany and the Europeans in December. Not any special extra training for this. We were just happy to be at our first Worlds and doing as best as possible.
Well, good luck to you today.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Joan and Sebastian Stock. Most of the fans in the Rinken in Gävle today are Swedes, but the Germans are there as well to wave the flag. Their team down by just 1 to Peja Lindholm after 5. Let's go back to the booth.
Thank you, Scott. Both skips at the 5th end break sounding very self-assured and confident that they're going to win.
They sounded very good. The other thing that I noticed as well with Peja Lindholm is, as we were starting off the top of the show, he is very animated and often too intense, I would say, over the top, and he seemed very, very calm. And I think that is reflected also in the crowd. I expected more noise from this crowd, and so far they've been quite subdued.
Hey, part of that's due to the play of the Germans too. They've been quite sharp and have had some chances to score multiple points, and they're looking to take advantage of last rock here in the 6th end. Very important end for Germany. If they can manage to score a deuce to get up 1 late in the game here, it will help them a lot. Conversely, if the Swedes can hold the Germans to 1 and use the advantage themselves in 7.
Some very consistent play by the leads on both teams and the skips on both teams. But there is a bit of a question mark on whether the seconds the second and the third for Germany can keep up with the second and the third from Switzerland. No, sorry, not Switzerland, Sweden.
Well, only one multiple point end in the first 5. That deuce for Sweden in the 4th. Could have been 2 or 3 multiple point ends had there not been some great peeling.
And a couple of nice saves by the skips too in the second and third ends. As you mentioned, I'm going to really watch Thomas Nordin and Daniel Herberg playing third, and how I think that's where we're going to see some made or miss shots. And so far the German third just hasn't been doing it for Germany. Conversely, Thomas Nordin's made some huge shots. He made 2 doubles in the last end and a nice run back in the second end.
Marcus Messenziel. His second rock here, the 6th end.
Tappt ihn. Nein, tappt dranbleiben. Länge ist gut. Nur 3. Nur 3. 12. Ist freeze jetzt. Ist freeze.
Trying to freeze up to that Swedish stone.
Perfekt.
Just excellent shot making. And we're seeing that set up almost every end between a great battle between Marcus and Peter, both placing the rock very, very well early in the ends.
Kan vi över, hänger med. Kan vi över lite för ner. Ja.
Bara för, jämn riktning, ligger jättebra.
Alla där. Där själv. Precis ner själv. Dutta lite.
Upp. Dutta.
Dutta.
Ligger jättebra.
Hänger blått.
Ja.
Hänger blått. Upp lite. Hänger blått.
Magnus Swartling with a reply freeze for Sweden. We talked about how loose Sebastian Stock has been all week. Didn't show any stress in that big win in the semifinal over Mark Dacey, and once again here in the final. Calm, cool, and collected.
I think he enjoys playing the underdog.
Couple of options. Freeze is one, perhaps coming to the back as well. They looked at just briefly.
We asked Sebastian Stock about the pressure of trying to win Germany its first ever men's gold, the World Championships, and he said, we don't have to make a name for ourselves. We're here to have fun. We're not making any money at this. It's when you start earning money that you're under pressure.
Nein. Vorne 8. Vorne 4. Weg. Vorne 8. Ganz weg. Wenn wir gar nichts machen. Vorne 8. Niemals. Vorne 12. Vorne 8. Vorne 8. Vorne 8. Vorne 8. Vorne 8. Vorne 8.
Top 8. The weight they're calling.
Okay. Okay.
This is getting very interesting.
This is actually the roll to a very bad spot for Germany. Chance here for Sweden to make a double race, perhaps.
Jäkligt bra om man kan köra en renhållning här.
The other options come
Kan
in.
ju rulla lite så, lite för mycket, men det är okej. Den blir borta. Alternativ är ju så.
Just want to roll the shooter inside a little.
Stor risk att den här bara duttas hit. Köra så, grabbar. Okej. Ja. Normal.
He's looking at all the options that the hit and roll, as you drew out to Mike, to sit right there, but also if he tapped things and shook it up a little bit, that's not going to hurt them too much.
Normal. 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 Aldrig.
Magnus Swartling with his second rock.
Var beredd istället.
Lite drygt.
Ja. Kom in då! Ställ upp!
He'll remove one German stone.
Okay.
And Germany lies 1.
And that was plan B. As we had drawn out, they were looking to try to get to the inside of that rock.
Looking to come through the hole, I think, here, Joan. Very tough shot.
No, Hank.
Double
Weight.
raise.
Just come back in through the port here.
With hack weight.
Raise the yellow onto the red. Tap that stone off the top of the 4-foot. Tough shot. Very tough shot. Risk is, of course, if you don't make much of a dent in what's going on up there, there is a little tap back for Sweden to lie to.
Whoa! Heck. Yeah!
This looks good.
Oh, it looks great. Get by the top one.
Lots of weight.
Beautiful shot.
Out goes the Swedish stone. Now Germany lying 2, maybe biting the edge of the 12-foot.
But you can see it gives Sweden the same shot to come in with their own yellow. Advance red onto yellow, onto red, and maybe might be able to drive it back on and double out the back red as well.
Big weight. Big weight is possible. You get all these rocks moving. Another big shot from Thomas Nordin.
Just not quite sure how the top red one might come off and whether it'll chip the back one or not.
Once again, Thomas Nordin being called upon here to get his team out of trouble. And he's got 2 German stones out of the house. Sweden lies 1.
Good call. Good call by Lindholm.
Ist nicht da. Ist nicht da. Ah, vielleicht geht er. Okay, probieren wir. Ja, so ist auch schon gut. Yeah.
Talking about the double, and he said the double's not there. Will said, well, maybe, but this is such a flat double. I don't think it's there, John. You just got to absolutely fire this to even have a chance of touching both stones. I think the safer shot would be just to hit and stay.
I think he is looking at the hit and roll, though he has to be very, very careful. He rolls over to the red one.
No, it'll stay.
Good news is it is third shot. And Sweden will have to deal with it.
Det är helt fel att bara vicka hit. Köra den.
Ja.
There is a hack weight tap back on that yellow stone available to Sweden at some, or to rather to Germany at some point. So certainly the Germans are still have a good possibility of scoring 2 points here.
Germans with hammer here in the 6th end.
Sweden has a great chance to lie 2 here, though, off of this hit and roll.
Nordin will hit and stick. He won't get the roll on the edge of the 12-foot.
Still looking to hit. As you said, Mike, there is the possibility of playing a hack weight shot on the yellow shot stone by the red German.
Trying to hit about right where his broom is and roll the shooter in.
Herberg being
another big weight shot, though.
Outshot. Herberg outshot right now by 30% by Nordin. He'll get the hit and roll.
Look at that.
Very nice shot.
Fantastic double.
Germany now lying 2 as Herberg ups the ante at 3rd.
First big shot we've seen from Daniel, and I don't believe there's a straight double opportunity here for Sweden. You watch where this top red stone is. It is partially buried behind the top guard, so very difficult double for Lindholm. That was a tough double. That was a great shot.
Oh, absolutely. Playing their strength, this German team, which is hitting.
We may see a run back here from Sweden, but it looks like he's going to try to come through the hole. I think even if he does get by the guard, it's going to be very difficult to remove both red stones, just with the angles as we look at it there. It's possible, but tough.
They're so close together. There's also the stone on the left-hand side of the back of the house, the yellow stone. If the double is attempted, that may come into play as a jam.
This is a very tight port here for Lindholm. This is a tough shot.
Once again, using up more time, studying his first shot here in the 6th. Good for line through the port to get one German stone.
That's about as good as he could do. I think there wasn't a double opportunity there.
Ja.
Ja, wir müssen dann so weit hinter, dann fährt er uns eh hinter.
Germany has to be careful if they try coming around that center guard that they might set up a double. The short little run back.
Ja, natürlich auch ganz schön. Und selbst wenn ich ihn ganz leicht streif, bleibt er vielleicht da.
In welcher Länge?
Ja, Heck.
Oder? Kann man Timer, ne?
Nein, man kann natürlich auch ganz einfach hier einen hinlegen.
Das ist das, was ich meine.
They're contemplating the hack weight hit on that top Yellowstone was their original call.
No.
You'd think the most logical call, of course, is coming into a draw in that area, but if they do that, then Sweden just plays a hit on their own and possibly remove all the red. So that's why they're taking a look at where would be the best place to put this red stone, and maybe over there is better.
I like that call, actually, just to draw open Indian.
Guarantee your deuce.
You have to make sure that you're close enough to the 8 foot where Lindholm cannot raise his own yellow stone and get shot rock.
I don't like the hack weight shot on the top yellow.
No, there's
a
lot of risk.
It's very difficult, whereas you just have an open draw to full 12 foot to lie your 2 points and then put it back into Lindholm's court, do something with it.
The hack waiter is, you play that if you want to go for 3, I think, but I think 2 at this stage is a great score here for Germany.
A momentum swing once again, and momentum is such a big part of curling. I think that's what they have decided on, is drawing to the open side.
And I would like to, if it was me, I'd like to have this rock just about biting the 8 foot, where you have that yellow stone that we see in front of the red, where you may not be raised up and get shot stone. They don't want this to over curl.
Sebastian Stock, his first stone here in the 6th.
Gegeben! Genau, T-Line! Sieht länger aus. Genau, T-Line, nicht länger. Nicht länger.
If they leave this high, then Lindholm has a choice, an option to play hit and roll.
Genau da. Ja, alles. Yep. Ja! Quick! Quick! Okay.
Good shot. Lindholm has to be careful, though, as they Joan, that Yellowstone is a jam possibility. If you do play
kann jetzt nicht nur dumm treffen.
Ja, schön.
Lindholm's just circling the house, trying to take a look at all his options, but obviously he'll be looking at the easiest way to hold Germany.
Eller att spela något mjukare och så.
Vi kan ju rulla ända hit bort och det är bra.
I sådana fall en 10-25.
Ja.
Kör den, tycker jag. Här går det ju rakt.
They are worried about that jam.
Det kommer så mycket i alla fall. Ja, det ska det göra.
Vill du ska minska lite? Minska lite då.
Just looking for hit and roll, getting over into this area. And the jam that we're talking about is this rock in the back.
Spela en 10-25 grabbar, blicka bakom.
Now the home crowd behind the Swedish skip for his last stone here in 6.
It's a risky shot with quiet weight because if you don't hit it for the roll, it will jam and your shooter's not going to roll far enough.
Försiktigt.
They're letting it go for the nose hit. They don't want it to jam on the back. Germany's still shot.
That was a good heads-up call to let it go, as in let it curl more, so that jam wasn't there. If they had jammed, then Germany would have a great chance getting 3.
Sebastian Stock now a chance for 2.
Draw. 80. Was hat ich gerade? 68. Der reicht es dazu mit, dann die 80.
German team using split times as well. They're talking about the weight. The Oxford is 83.80 for a split.
As with any arena ice, you need to talk about each path. There's slightly different areas that'll be slightly keener or heavier. So that would be the conversation he'd be having with his sweepers.
The only tricky part about this is that this is a fresh path.
It's got lots of weight.
Will it stop in time? Nordin tries to work it out, but it'll stop inside the 8-foot.
Big deuce.
A big deuce for Germany as this rookie skip retakes the lead here, 4-3 through 6.
Hockey night in Canada on Sunday. Montreal at Tampa Bay, 4 Eastern, 2 Mountain. Lightning 1-0 lead. Nikolai Habibulin had a shutout in the opener. That's followed by Toronto at Philadelphia, 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific. Robert Esch appears ready to duel with Ed Belfour in net there. And take a look at those hockey sticks outside the Rinken in Gävle, where the World Curling Championships are going on. This is a hockey rink, and there is Goatee, the mascot, skating around, shooting a little... Oh, bad shot. Mark?
I think that's Daniel Alfredson, actually, in the goatee outfit. So this is hockey country, Scott. You can see some of the retired jerseys of the famed Bernays hockey team and their Swedish Elite League titles dating back to the 50s, hang from the rafters here at the Gävle Rinken. Many of fans here staying up late watching the NHL playoffs on cable TV as we head to the 7th end. And Germany sporting a 4-3 lead.
Definitely hockey fans here in Sweden, but there is a lot of awareness for curling as well. I do know that after Peter Lindholm won his first World Championships in 1997, he was welcomed home to Sweden with a bit of a celebrity status. In fact, he and his teammates made a commercial for McDonald's here in Sweden. And so they were very, very proud of the World Championship that they had brought home for Sweden.
Well, if he wins here today, he might be as famous as Börje Salming, who is the biggest name hockey player to come out of Gävle, former Leaf, Hall of Famer.
So many similarities to that 97 Worlds. Lindholm winning their first World Championships against Germany, a different team handicap, but also on the women's side, where Canada yesterday played Dordy Nordby, so did we as Team Canada in 1997. We played against Dordy Nordby as well in that final and won too. So many similarities to that World Championship.
Also in 2001, after Randy Ferbey was upset by a team, Peter Lindholm went on to defeat that same team in the final. And Colleen Jones won her World Championship that year as well.
So the planets and the rocks are all lined up, you're saying, for Lindholm.
That's what we're kind of alluding to.
Yes, it was Christoph Schwaller of Switzerland who upset Ferbey, and that Netto and miss that rolled out the semifinal.
And then Canada played Norway in the bronze medal match that year as well. I mean, it's just, there's a lot of similarities.
part of that is due to the fact that many of the European teams send the same representative as well. Every year they get stronger and stronger. Sweden has always been a powerhouse, a contender for the world title.
7 times this team has been to the World Championships. 2 firsts, 2 seconds, and 2 sixth-place finishes.
Now we talked about the battle of the leads. Just take a look at how close that red stone was to the house without going in, which meant that Sweden couldn't remove it from play. It's still in the four rock rule. That's just fabulous play by both the leads.
Well, this upstart team from Germany has certainly given Sweden everything it can contend with in this men's final.
Well, Stock looking at peeling the corner guard here. Another good opportunity to throw another center and really put Sweden in some trouble here.
Okay.
Of course, it was in this end that he laid the trap for Mark Dacey and scored 4 and go on to a 9-6 victory yesterday in the semifinal.
Calling a good game, this German skip and team. I was first introduced to this team in Oberstdorf in 1994, where my team again was competing as Team Canada. And it was Sebastian's mother that was on the volunteer committee, Inga Borg, who introduced me to her son who had an interest in curling, Sebastian Stock.
Okay.
And Sweden really needs to deal with these 2 center guards right now. It's
Germany leading 4-3 on the scoreboard. Sweden just barely out-curling Germany as a team, 83 to 79%. The Swedes good on 90% of their draws so far.
Now we need a big hit here though from Magnus. Swartling, a double raise they're looking for. Red onto yellow onto those ones in the house.
And they're far apart, which makes it a difficult. Great shot.
Removing 1.
Really tough to get all those rocks moving. They were very far apart.
Nice thing for Germany is that the stone on the side of the button is buried, and they're throwing. You get another chance to sit 2. Looking for the in-turn, come around into the top of the 8-foot.
We need to be careful with this rock. If it does not bury and it's coming full into the house, it'll leave a double and a roll for Sweden.
Yeah, probably better to be about a foot short of the rings and open as opposed to top 8-foot.
And this is short.
Genau freeze noch. Oh. Tappen. Okay.
Let's tap the Swedish guard. Stay on the center line.
Good miss though from Germany. You can see that stone on the side of the button is completely buried. Looking for another run back here from Magnus.
Big raise just misses.
And the shooter stays there. There is, I think there's a port between those two. Between those 2 guards, there's enough room to put put a rock through there.
I believe there's room here.
Be
nice to nudge that red guard over a little bit and roll to guard the other side as well. You could have a four rocks up front. In-turn come around's the call. Again, the danger is if it comes up short, there is a chance for Sweden to pass through that port.
4 guards in play here in the 7th end.
Oh, weit. Weg. Die Line. Ganz weg. Die Line, die bräucht was. Wo? Ganz weg. Wo? Bräucht was. Vorne ab. Wo? Ja. Jetzt so weiter geht. Vorne ab. Go quick.
Line the tick.
Just through the port.
Jetzt, ja. Wow, wow.
And nicely into the house to the forefoot for Germany to lie to.
Pretty good shot, actually. Turned out okay.
Wow.
And they were sweeping it just for the little redirection. Those are so hard.
Här är det inget fel på.
Nej, eller göra dubbeln så.
Yeah, looking at coming through.
Den?
Ja.
Ja, men den är ganska tunt. Det träffar. Den finns ju, men...
Alltså chapp, lite utanför chapp.
Ja, nu ska
You can see Daniel Nordin looking up on the Jumbotron here at the Rinken.
Men gör vi den, då är det bara för
The
dem att
overhead
trycka
shot
på
of the
egen.
house to get a better look.
Ja.
The debate's whether to throw a kind of a lightweight double or try to run that port.
Men vilken fart i sådana fall.
There's a port on either side. Both are a port. One is more staggered, but and both are very difficult shots.
Ja.
You see there is more room on the
Tror
right-hand
inte vi ligger
side.
skotten efteråt.
Ta en timeout.
Timeout.
Now the Swedes will call a timeout to reconsider this shot, as Thomas Nordin will be called upon once again to make a crucial shot for Sweden.
So there's two options, and that's the one they're looking at now, the lightweight double, and the other one is running it through the port on the right-hand side. And I think Pea's concern is that they can't hit enough of that stone. They'll end up jamming and leaving the stone on the button.
Vi kan ju köra renhållning också bara.
Kolla, ta ut träffen själv så ser du.
Ja, vi blir aldrig kvar.
Part of the problem having enough weight to get through that port.
Nej, men alltså ta ut träffen, för då kan du kolla utifrån egen gard. Den är inte vägen.
Inte på en renhållning i alla fall. Ja.
För gör vi den, då är det jättebra, för då har vi både gluggen där och gluggen där. Egentligen vad jag funderar på, och jag är helt inne på den linjen också, det är antingen spelar man i den gluggen och vilka skott, men då har ju de bara trycken.
Ja.
Eller så spelar vi renhållning och gör den dubbeln, för då har ju vi bägge. Ja. Har de också, men då kan ju vi gå efter.
Ja. Blir vi kvar på renhållningen eller?
Nej, vi blir inte kvar på någon gång. Så vi tänkte fundera på om vi ska gå ner i fart och spela typen normal, men det blir nog inte kvar ändå.
Nej.
Inte om vi ska göra dubbel.
I believe Peter likes the double, or Peter likes the port rather, and Thomas wants to play the in-turn double, and there's the weighing.
Ja, i och för sig, det är ett alternativ.
Both
vi kan
options.
ju ligga på skotten. Frågan är om vi går ner på det pulspelet.
Vilken skulle vi ta då?
Göra samma... Nej, men den dubbeln finns ju inte, för då går vi i egen corner.
Ja, nej, det går inte.
Nej.
Bestäm vilken fart.
Det är ingen tycker jag.
Kör renhållning.
Ja.
Coach Uli Sutor coming in to help out with the Swedish conference at the timeout.
Elected to play the double.
I think that I do think this shot is slightly easier because of the staggered port.
Trying to come through the hole and perhaps make a double.
Another big end here for Germany, hinging on the Swedish third.
It's close.
Through the hole.
Through the port with weight. He's got them both.
A fantastic shot.
Once again, Thomas Nordin is the hero at home.
Such a solid player. So obviously an effective timeout, so all players are on the same page. They decide on which shot they have the best chance of making.
Nordin out curling Herberg 92 to 69% at third.
Trying to get by the guard.
Through the port again.
Much better line this time.
Germany trying to rebuild their house to the back edge of the 4-foot. Herberg answers back to Nordin.
Just a little bit too deep, although the Supers didn't have much choice. They needed to sweep it to get by the guard. Advantage back to Sweden if they can follow this rock.
Second rock for Nordin. Sweepers working hard, but they won't get past the guard. The German stone is open.
Genau dahin, oder? Ja. Geht zwar, drumherum kann dann nochmal. So, dass vielleicht nicht reinrollt. Ja, så. Ich glaube, das brauchen wir jetzt auch wieder. Jaha. Nappet är riktigt illa egentligen.
Two nice shots there from Dan and Herberg to put some pressure on both of Thomas Nordin's stones this end.
Kurze guard.
Looking for the real tight guard.
So, dass nicht reinrollt.
All those other stones out front are preventing any path into the 4-foot area for Sweden. So a tight guard here will effectively take away any opportunity for Sweden to get into the 4-foot.
Even though the shot stone is behind the tee line, and often you don't want to be guarding a rock that's behind the tee line. But this one being nice and tight, and one path to that rock is already taken away. This one will take away the other turn as well.
Muss noch Köln. Linie ist gut. Ist nur 2. Linie ist gut. Jetzt! Ja! So weiter geht.
Need to almost completely cross the center line to guard this.
Ja! Whoa! 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 Ja!
Oh, nice shot.
Well done.
Vilken träff? Vart vill du träffa skotten? Det får du som skriver. Vi kör in här, eller en out här.
Sharp är lättast.
See there,
Då
very
tar vi den.
Ja.
small port on the outturn side if there's one at all, and he's going to play the run back. Play the two red stones.
Lindholm with last rock here in the 7th.
Always tough when you're raising your opponent's stone back into the fork. It makes it just that little bit more difficult.
Run backs are
both
tough
stones.
on their own. Never mind trying to run back an opponent's stone and just split it off. Makes it even more difficult. If he doesn't make the run back, then plan B would be to straight peel this guard with the hope that Germany's Sebastian Stock wouldn't be able to replace it as perfectly as what he has just thrown.
Just what he needs here. The wave erupts in the arena right in front of him as he lets go his shot.
Close.
Hit the raise.
And that is the danger of raising your opponent's stone back. And now big trouble for Sweden.
Germany needs to guard against Sweden being able to throw the run back again. This time it's on their own. See, there's a little bit of a port.
Sebastian Stock is 89% today with his draws.
Timeout.
He's actually considering the double raise on the guards that are out front, the double tap.
Was meinst du?
Oh, yuck.
Yeah.
Es gibt
Oh, yuck.
Den kannst du kriegen mit Heckway.
He's out front taking a look at how big that port is.
Aber nicht mit Heck. Den muss mit Peel spielen. Weißt du? Weil es schwingt ja so rum auch rein. Und der hat so einen intern, der... Wie geht? Kann den so spielen, wenn du da nichts machst, dass da liegen bleibt. Ich würde auch sagen. Daniel,
How's your German, Mike?
durch die Lücke
Good.
Kann er schon. Kann er schon, aber er kann hängen bleiben und klauen wir zwei.
Aber nur, wenn er einen Inside-Out spielt, oder? Kommt er dann normal auch durch? Ja, vielleicht kommt er durch.
Just wondering what
Wollen wir
Sweden's
sonst von der
shot
anderen
is.
Seite tappen?
Ja, das habe ich mir auch schon überlegt.
I think it's possible to take away the guard
Da
and
außen,
the
den
raise,
roten
though, John,
Teppen.
don't you believe?
By
Put the
putting
guard
another
in the right
guard on.
spot.
Yes, I think another
Wäre
guard is the
einfacher.
call.
Für ihn wir spielen, nicht für uns.
They're going to consult with their coach.
Ja, ein bisschen vor.
Hallo Jungs.
Hallo Olli.
Hallo Olli. Wir sind im Spiel.
Schön, dich auf dem Eis zu sehen.
Also ich sehe entweder die Guard oder den Chip da außen.
Den Tab.
Tap
Tab
da rein.
Split vielleicht sogar
So
für
Split
zweimal.
so
The
hinten
outside
rein.
one is what Cooley's suggesting.
Nee.
Außenrum würde ich nicht gehen. Nee.
So ist Alarm mehr.
Die Guard ihm einzufor... Weil der liegt in Line, oder? Für die Null, oder? Der da.
Ich ja.
Ja.
So viel Platz. Das spielt er nicht.
Ein Split für die Guard, oder?
Nein.
Lass uns noch einen reinlegen, oder? Ja.
That's one option.
Den können sie auch machen.
Cooley's bringing to the table. The other option, of course, is just the
Hat er richtig viel Druck.
guard in this area.
Muss er gegen zwei am Ziel
Especially
bringen
Rock.
oder nicht gegen
That would be
zwei.
that big and cover the whole.
That would be nice.
That would be nice.
They would like to lie two and really make sure they force Sweden to one. They don't want to throw the guard and leave them one of those yellow raises and allow them to blank or blank the end. But boy, oh boy, I mean, it's such a great chance to lie two. The good news is that they do chip this in the rings. I don't know that there's any other way to take a single point here for Sweden other than a lightweight tap back. By playing the shot, they have to get this stone into the rings. Not allow Sweden a blank. They're leaving the port.
Den muss er damit viel erst einmal bringen.
There's a good look at it there. It doesn't look like you can go through that port with anything less than firm weight hit. That's what they're betting on. So they just want to tap their outside stone in to lie two and make Sweden's chance to score one very, very difficult, as opposed to playing the guard and risking Sweden being able to make a blank.
I think it's more likely if they left it alone that Sweden would be playing the run back again since they just played it.
But to play it with weight is
If Germany
very
puts another
risky.
rock in, then it becomes a more riskier shot.
Nein, lege gut, lege gut. Wow! Wow, Länge rein.
Weight's good is what they're saying.
Yep. Wow! Yep.
Chip it close to the forefoot.
Hard!
Nice shot. Does the trick.
Okay.
Germany raising their stone to lie two.
And they were betting that Sweden could not get one by playing this shot. I'm not sure that is the case. Huge shot here for Lindholm. He's playing a lightweight tap for one.
And you can see the stagger between these two rocks.
There is a port, but very tight. Biggest shot of the game.
What's difficult is that you need to throw quite a bit of weight to make the port because it's staggered with that out turn. But if you throw lots of weight, then the shooter's going to roll away. And the question will be whether it'll outcount the second German stone.
And it's not a wide port, and it's, I said, by playing that second stone into the rings, Germany has a possibility of stealing two. Not only one, but two here if Lindholm doesn't execute.
Pressure on Peje Lindholm with his last stone, and it's written all over his face.
Way out there.
Just through the port.
Great shot.
Wow. Tapping the stone right to the button for one.
What a fantastic shot.
You can see the rock move right before the outside guard.
The Swedish skip braves the pressure with a clutch shot here in 7, and we're all tied at 4.
Yesterday in the women's final, Kim Kelly sealed the deal for Canada, an 8-4 victory over Dorte Nordby of Norway. And Colleen Jones, the 6-time Canadian champion, wins her second World Championship. She last won 2001 in Lausanne, Switzerland. This time she does it in Gävle, Sweden. What a great victory. And at the rink in Gävle, there is Colleen Jones. Congratulations, Colleen. And I wonder yesterday when I heard the national anthem played and I saw you listening to it and singing, there were tears. What were those tears about? Were they pride? Were they relief? What were they about?
No pride, you know, to hear your anthem played in the arena is what you live for, and it was what we missed most last year in Winnipeg when we listened to the American anthem and not ours when we lost in the final. And we so wanted to hear our anthem. And so when it was played, it was just a really emotional experience for all of us.
Talk about the relief, though, Colleen, because throughout the week of curling, Kim Kelly had struggled at times, but she did seal the deal. Nancy Delahunt has and was, she was a tower of strength for your team, and then you and Marianne Arsenault celebrated last night. What about the relief of finally getting this done after a few chances?
It is a big relief, actually, and that probably sort of is your first feeling, too, when you win it. Just, okay, thank God we did it, because there's a lot of pressure on you when you come representing Canada. You want to win the world title, and you know you're only going to get so many opportunities in your lifetime. I only ever thought I'd get one in my lifetime, so to have gotten a couple has been terrific. But I think that something that Canadian fans are coming to appreciate more as years go on and they get exposure through the Continental Cup and the World Championship to the European curling is that they are very strong, and it's not a fait accompli anymore that Canada is going to win the world title. The other countries have caught up, and they might be small in numbers, but they have quality players, and so to win it is a feeling of relief, because there were on the women's side 5 other great teams that were everybody just neck and neck that could have won it. So mostly it was relief and then pure joy.
You know what, Colleen, following that loss to the United States last year in Winnipeg, I know your team had a little meeting on somebody's deck, and you said, how long are we going to stay in this thing? Are we going to be committed to this thing for the long haul? And I'm talking about the Olympic Games. 2005 are the trials in your home city of Halifax at the Metro Center, but it's still a long way away. Are you committed as a team to making that the goal?
Well, we are very committed if the bodies can hold up. We often joke that they're taped together with duct tape, you know, just keeping us together, and ibuprofen. But otherwise, we are so committed as a team to continue to work hard, and it's the big, big carrot in front of our nose. Like, it just keeps us going, trying to get a bite of that. And we are dreaming of the Olympic Games, as are a lot of other great Canadian women teams. But that is the goal, and I think that's what keeps us going and practicing and playing, and it's our big motivator.
Colleen, you never do things the easy way. You say you're a grinder. You lost the first 2 there in Gävle. It was tough against Ebnother of Switzerland in the semi. How important is that persona to your rink, the grinders?
Well, I think if I were a team playing us, I think I would be a little worried that we're never going to be out of the game, that we're always going to still be alive. We're going to be on a sneak attack in some ways, and I think that never give up attitude is one that has come through experience of playing a lot together and knowing that we can come back, and we've shown it to each other a lot that we can come back and win. So I think that has really strengthened us over the years, and I think that kind of grinded out thing we can do just shows other teams they can't let down against us.
Well, Colleen, you are the constant Canadian when it comes to women's curling, and twice now the world champion. Congratulations to you and your entire team as you head back to the Mayflower in Halifax.
Thank you, Scott. Hoping for a big party there.
Beautiful. Colleen Jones. Well, they rubbed the World Championship trophy before the match began, and they have it now in their grasp. 2 times the world champions from the Mayflower in Halifax, Nova Scotia, the Colleen Jones rink. Back to the rink now in Gävle.
Thank you, Scott. And next year, the big challenge, the big mission for the Colleen Jones rink, the Olympic trials. And that's the ultimate goal, to get to Torino in 2006. And we've got a dandy men's final going here. Tied at 4 in the 8th end. Germany in their first ever final against the 2-time champions from Sweden, Pia Lindholm.
That center guard you see out front was the first stone of the end, and we've just had a few come-arounds and hit and stays, and Sweden just finally rolled out on Magnus Swartling's last stone, allowing Germany a free come-around. And Germans slipped that stone to the back of the 8th foot, but you know, Germany's got to be very happy here. 3 ends to play. They've got last rock coming into the 8th end. They've theoretically have control, even though it's very precarious with the 4-rock rule in play. But Sweden dodged a huge bullet there last end when Germany elected to not to allow Lindholm that out-turn tap. He made a fantastic shot to score one, but certainly the Germans have looked very comfortable out here today.
Thomas Nordin removing the German stone. Sweden to lie 1. This German team, the Sebastian Stock rink, defeated veteran Andy Kapp in the German playdowns. It was the 6th time that Kapp has been runner-up in the German nationals. Kapp, of course, a 2-time world bronze medalist. Can Sebastian Stock go better today and win gold for Germany for the first time?
When we talk about Colleen Jones' Olympic dream, this team from Germany representing their country at the Winter Olympics in 2002, I think it is their goal as well to return to that Olympic playdown and perhaps represent Germany again in 2006.
It's freeze. We're getting into the last few stones at the end here, and any small mistake will result in multiple points for Germany or a steal. So very important that this stone gets in front of that red German stone. Put the pressure back on Daniel Herberg and the Germans. Another nice shot from Nordin.
Nordin has been solid today at 3rd for Sweden.
The house is getting very small. Now not much room to maneuver.
Still a good chance for Germany. The shot stone is behind the tee line.
Sebastian Stock asked for the same weight.
The same back line.
Etwas mehr als Backline. Ganz weg. Backline. Kein Strich. Sauber.
Trying to curl now.
Immer noch Backline. Backline. Hinten 12 Backline.
Tap it back to be shot stone.
Okay.
Not bad. Still leaving same opportunity for Sweden though to come in.
Få ner, få bort den. Ja. Vikt helgon. Ja, är det viktigt att få bort den?
Well, the Swedes, defeated Germany 7-3 in the round robin. Certainly the German confidence is born in that victory they had over Sweden in the European final in 2002. Championship environment once again.
I just get the feeling that this German team is afraid of no one. They've got that young fearlessness.
If the experience for Lindholm will pay off, it's going to be now in this 8th, 9th, and 10th end, and we'll see how Sebastian's able to handle it. If Lindholm's able to make a nice hit and roll here, the Germans are going to have a hard time scoring a point.
The hit and roll will be slightly behind the tee line.
Lite knappt Sari! Hack! Sari! Sari! Lite knappt Sari! Knappt Sari!
Slow rotation on the handle. You can see this is really start to finish now. There it goes.
To the button. To lie 1 for Sweden.
Almost completely buried.
You're looking for just a little tap back.
Missed the guard by a good 6 inches. So there will be room for the Germans to follow it down.
Looks like Germany may be second shot. It's very close. That's such a long guard, you would expect.
Should almost be able to get to the nose, yeah.
You can get right to the nose.
Viel Platz. Hinten 8. Viel Platz. Dranbleiben. Viel Platz. Ganz viel Platz. Achtung, jetzt kommt er. Ganz viel Platz.
Got lots of room.
Kein Strich. Hinten 8.
Back 8 is the weight they're calling.
Niemals. Niemals. Swing.
It's trying to curl. This is very close to being great.
Okay. Good.
Not
The
bad.
yellow still shot rock.
But it is accessible on the in-turn.
Young Sebastian Stock continuing to outplay his more decorated opponent. 91 to 73% right now.
That's a pretty good shot from Stock. There's no easy option here for Lindholm.
Ja. Vågan vid. Ja.
I think he's looking for a similar shot to his first stone, where he got to the inside and a little roll to the center line.
He needs to get that inside roll, or there may be an opportunity for Germans to score 2. You'd hate to nudge this on the outside. Single point here in 8 is huge either way. And certainly Swedes would hate to give up 2 here. But there's no easy option for Lindholm. Germany right now has 2 options on their last stone.
Lindholm's last rock here in the 8th.
Same shot would make things really tough for Stock. That's very good. Great shot.
Sweden lies 2.
Well done.
Fantastic shot, actually.
And although it's accessible with the other turn, it'll jam.
Kurzes Takeout, huh? Entweder kurzes Takeout.
Now what?
Well, he has to play an in-turn lightweight, very similar to the shot Lindholm just threw with the out-turn. Try to throw a backline weight, just tap these stones back. Worst case he'd like to do is just hit it on the nose and get 1.
He could just draw as well and try to draw in to the back.
Yeah, he may be able to get shot, but that's tough. That's tough too. You hate to give up again. Deuce is the risk of missing the draw is 2.
Okay.
Just a lightweight tap back, and at this stage, if you're on Stock, you got to make sure you hold Sweden to 1. He really needs to get to the inside here if they would like to tap this stone back and get some movement. But very, very difficult. Easy to give up 1, but really tough shot to score.
Last rock here in what could be the pivotal 8th end of this men's final for Sebastian Stock of Germany.
Well, he needs to get by the guard.
Oh, this will be so close.
No.
He's all over the guard. It's a steal of 2 for Sweden. So Germany blinks first in this men's showdown. And the Swedes are up by 2 as we head to 9. Welcome back to Gävle. The final shot of the 8th end goes awry for Sebastian Stock. And the Swedes steal 2 for a 6-4 lead as we go to the 9th end. First real mistake by the rookie skip. And Sweden will take it.
That's a big mistake. I mean, it was an easy shot to give up 1 there, and I think maybe just, well, poor release, obviously, causing the wreck on the guard. It really wasn't close to getting by either. And huge momentum swing in this game, and Germans are up against it now in the last couple of ends.
But in the 4-rock rule, using that guards to come back with a deuce here, it'll be a very interesting 10th end.
Even one, you're going to try to steal one in the 10th.
Wunderbar.
And you can see the shot stone in the house belonging to Sweden is again behind the tee line, which works in Germany's favor. They can use it later in the end to freeze too.
Looking for a split tick shot here.
Just missing and flashing through the house.
Sebastian Stock moved up into position that if they had made contact with the German, the red German stone, he would have been sweeping it hard to try to get it to hit the board so they could replace it.
Well, we'll see how these Germans react to the pressure they're under now. Remember, in the semifinal, they had a 4-ender in the 7th and were home and cooled against Canada.
Aufpassen, aufpassen. So, gut aus.
This is only the 2nd time in this men's final that Sweden has had the lead.
Okay. Okay. Wow, wow. Super, Mess.
But 2 points in the way this game is going seems huge.
It is huge, and it's a big, certainly the mental advantage now to Sweden is tremendous. Two great shots from Lindholm in that last end, two very nice touch, weight, hit and rolls to really put the pressure on Stock.
He's looking for the peel. Good job. Good sweeping.
And rolling out of play.
Schaut kürzer aus. Länge gut. Oh, schaut gut aus.
Nur gleiche Höhe. Wow, wow,
Oh,
wow.
schaut easy aus. Wow, 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 wow.
They want to replace that guard in the same spot so that it'll take away the double peel. You see Pia Lindholm lining up the double.
Sweden trying to get rid of those 2 German guards.
Magnus Orling has the ability to throw the big weight hit, big weight peel.
He's got one. Just misses the other.
One more guard here from Germany, and then I expect to see them come into the rings or play a come around on their next stone, third, first stone.
It was Sebastian Stock of Germany telling us this morning how difficult it is to come from behind, that once they got the lead on Canada yesterday in the semifinal, how hard it was to come behind, because even if you threw up the corner guards, it was hard to get them buried behind it.
The ice is just so straight. Thomas Nordin will clear one of the German guards.
So you see that he's going out. Take a look where the broom is. Sebastian Stock thinking that there's a better chance of burying, getting curl out of this draw if he takes this wide turn.
Actually threw the shot in the 7th end, and they elected to play that tap back basically down this exact same path. So we should actually have an idea of the ice. Usually when you get out there into the wings, it's difficult to know what's going to happen, but they should have a pretty good idea about this one.
They have to guess on weight though because of the frost. There's always frost in arenas.
3 sweepers on this one. Trying to haul it behind cover. It's into the 12-foot.
Wide open though.
And Lindholm will go right after it.
There's a good look. Just a corner of that stone hidden behind the guard.
Yep. 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 Lite lösare än vägen idag. Hela vägen. Mange.
Nordin will remove the German stone. Sweden still lying 1 on the button.
Try this again.
Nochmal 50. Ja.
Now that they've seen the path and the weight, Germany will try this draw, get it completely buried.
See a little deeper, right back to the tee line. Lots of room. Tons of room. Way further out than the last one.
Yep. Yep. Hard. Quick, jetzt wieder. Quick. Quick. Weiter. Weiter.
Still exposed.
It's great weight.
Right from the get-go, that was wider than his first one. Finished nicely though. So he got in a little deeper and finished to about the same position.
3/4 eller? Ja, 3/4. Yep. Yep. Yep.
And again, Sweden removes the German stone.
Mann vom Eis. Genau, freeze. Okay, ist genau T-Line.
Now a change of plan for Germany.
Playing the freeze. Another option would be to play hit and roll here.
First stone for Sebastian Stock here in the 9th.
T-Line. Yep.
Sebastian needing to change tactics because if he did keep going for that draw, and even if he made it perfectly, Sweden could choose just to put a cap on a guard on this shot stone and take away Germany's opportunity to get 2.
Nice shot.
Very nice shot.
Freezing to the button.
They needed to sweep that for the line. Obviously, giving the tap, that's not what they wanted.
Difficult for Sweden to remove this and keep the shooter around.
Tappar vi har ju stor chans att de tar en. Ja. Ska vi ta en timeout? Ja, gör det.
And Lindholm will call a timeout for the 2nd time today.
sprätter du den och så tjappar du.
You're debating whether or not to try to blank the end or perhaps even just nose that and force Germany to one. I like being up two, personally. I think it's a good option. By leaving Germany with the hammer, that only leaves them one guard opportunity as well.
While the Swedes study this situation, the wave is up again here at the Gävle Rinken, where the announced attendance is 3,870 spectators, which is a new Swedish record for curling. So a big home crowd for this home rink of Peja Lindholm, seeking its third World Men's Curling Championship. As Lars-Åke Nordstrom comes out to help out in the discussions.
Jag vill ha den i tanken så ser vi det ut.
I know they want to be one up with here, playing the last end as opposed to two up without, but it's a very risky shot. I mean, Germany really hasn't done much to earn the 2 points here in the ninth inning. You hate to hand them to. Looking at just coming down, hitting this on the nose, and leaving their own stone frozen on top, and that's you know, you hate to hit it, you know, half an inch high or low either way and leave Germany an open hit for two without them really earning their deuce. The other option, of course, is to throw the in-turn, the other turn as they're looking and hit half a stone and remove everything from play and going home two up.
Just peel everything out.
The reward of making the shot is that you're going to force Germany into a very difficult shot for two. Even if you make it perfectly, they will have an opportunity to draw the side of the button for two.
Being two up playing the ninth, I personally would like the peel. Take out of it and assume that if Germany makes great shots, they might get their 2 points, but you would have last rock going into the extra end.
Right, and they haven't done that this end. Germany certainly hasn't earned a deuce in my mind, and Peja may just leave him an opportunity for two. And even if he makes this perfect, there will be a draw for two for Germany.
Lindholm's last rock here in the ninth.
Not curling enough.
It'll roll off.
No. And so now an open hit for two is the prospect for Germany.
And an easy shot for two. I mean, that's a big risk to take, I think, for Lindholm. Again, he was hoping to have the hammer going home, being up one. He still has the hammer, but it looks like they're going to be tied here if Stock can execute. And I'm sure Germany's very happy with what's gone on. They would have had to do the same thing in the 10th end and then steal anyway. So they're, by Sweden handing them the deuce, they've taken one of their tasks away.
So a bit of a gift here for Germany.
Very much so.
Sebastian Stock with the last rock of the ninth end.
Needs to make good on it though. He's throwing less weight. And it is over curling.
He's inside the stone.
Okay. Well done.
And a hit and roll for two.
Breathe a sigh of relief.
The second deuce of the game for the young Germans as they pull into a 6-6 tie with Sweden, with the 10th end to come here in Gävle.
Welcome back to World Championship Curling. Back in 1989, Peja Lindholm of Sweden won a World Junior Championship against Canada. The place was Markham, Ontario, and at the end of the 8th end, Sweden was so far ahead that the victory was assured over Canada. 7-2 the final score, and there is the demonstrative display by Peja Lindholm. The interesting thing here is all four members of those team of that team are now competing at the World Championships at home in Gävle, Sweden. And they go to the 10th end tied 6-6. Back to the booth.
Yes, here we are 15 years later. This Swedish team together after this trophy. The World Championship, Lindholm and his rink looking for their 3rd world title. And the 5th for Sweden. Ragnar Kemp winning it back in '77. And Kjell Oskarius winning it for the first time for Sweden in 1973. His rink was invited to be here to watch, and they were in Gävle enjoying the proceedings this week. Here we are in the 10th end. A very close men's final, 6-6.
And you see Germany's going to get 2 opportunities now to throw a center guard. And, conventional strategy now in Canada is to come around immediately, not try the tick shot twice, but you're going to see the Swedes here try to throw a nice lightweight, hack weight split on those center guards. Challenge, of course, now with the 4 rock rules, you need to make it twice.
Sweden with the hammer here in the 10th.
And Sebastian Stock will get into position to sweep his own stone to ensure that it is removed from play, and then it'll be replaced.
He's not sweeping his own stone.
Yeah, I'm wondering why. It looked like he was waiting for it to get to the tee line for a moment, forgetting that it was his own.
Players agreeing where to put it. Stock making 2nd guard now.
Well, how close can it get? 6-6 on the board, and both teams playing at 80%.
Oh, it's been a great game. And I think Colleen Jones said it best when she said that Canadian fans, curling fans, are coming to know that there are many, many good teams in other countries that play here at the Worlds.
Okay. Well done. 2 guards about 6 feet apart. Trying the tick shot again. This one's running straight as well. Stock not sweeping that because the yellow guard is still there. Hoping it's going to stop, but regardless of that stone going through the ring, there are still 2 center guards out front. Narup's stone did not roll very far. Here's a good look at it.
So now the pressure goes to Stefan Knoll. He needs to get this rock in the forefoot to be guardable.
That's exactly guardable is the exact. Doesn't need to be buried, just full forefoot somewhere that would pose a problem for Sweden. Top 4 they're looking for.
It's a great line. It's curling in there lovely.
Super shot.
Well done. Good sweeping. Sweden will be looking for the double peel.
And the hitting strength of Magnus Swartling and Thomas Nordin are going to come into play here. They need double peel. They may even get lucky with that stone in the forefoot as well if they make the double.
Well, the last time a men's world championship final was tied going into the 10th end was 1994. Rick Folk with the hammer winning 3-2 over Jan Olof Nassen of Sweden. Can the Swedes turn the tables today?
Rick Folk, as I recall, made a great draw to the 4-foot to win that game.
Line. Drauf. Hard.
This is curling already. This is inside, Mike.
Well, they just need it over the hog line again. It's a double looking for the second guard just over the hog line.
Schau nicht schlecht aus.
That's fine. Again, they either have the double guard or the one in the 4-foot, and they've done a good job keeping those stones apart. Curl a hair, make the double.
Oh, no. So close.
Bra spel, bakåt Norrut, snyggt. Bra Mange.
So very close to making the double peel.
4-0 meine Herren. 4-0. Schaut lang aus! Hier 84, Länge 95. Länge, gar nicht mal, ist schon
Don't want
gut.
these two
Ist
close
okay,
together.
wenn wir gut machen.
Set up an easier double.
2. Freeze! Nein, kein Freeze. Captain! Yup! Yup!
Easy double for Nordin now.
Okay, Daniel.
Said the good news for Germany is they're going to be able to replace the guard, but there'll only be one of them. This is just a straight peel. Both those reds easily will be removed.
Bort sopen har du. Bra spel. Snyggt.
Rolls the German guard into the house. Germany to lie 2.
What that will do for Germany is that will not allow Lindholm to play a lightweight tap back on a stone that's partially exposed. It'll force him to draw. So although it's been removed from the short of the rings, it still is going to help Germany ever so slightly. Guard doesn't have to be perfect anymore.
90. 2.
Herberg with his second shot here in the 10th.
2. Sauber!
Herberg has had an up and down battle this game.
Braucht aber nix.
Showing a little nerves. Often when you're nervous, you overthrow.
This looks good.
Okay.
He's making good on this, the second guard.
Daniel, super.
Perfect. Shot stone buried.
Looking for the double. The danger is hitting it incorrectly and having the shooter spin back into the 4-foot area.
Kan vi göra i sådana fall den träffen? Då rullar vi över corner då. Okay.
The other danger is hitting it too thick and taking away your out-turn pass at the button as well. If you happen to hit 3/4 of this stone and roll the shooter a foot or so, there'll be no out-turn draw opportunity. You need to be a little bit careful here for Sweden.
I think he's looking at that run back.
Thomas Nordin misses.
And there's that yellow stone in the path to the draw to the button. Huge miss, huge miss. And a risk taken that really they didn't need to take, I think.
To me, that's 2 questionable calls. Trying to play a run back on that when a straight peel would do. And then the call in 9.
That's worst case scenario too. They rolled right into their opportunity. 2 good guards here from Germany is gonna leave Lindholm very little to score their point here.
Thomas Nordin having such a brilliant final too.
Well, that was a tactical error, Mark. I think it wasn't a throwing error so much. They let that left themselves that opportunity by playing the shot they did. Straight peel was an easy shot.
The second point is, even if they did make the run back, they would leave their shooter as a guard for Germany just to draw behind again.
Kommt gut. Kommt gut. Kommt gut. Okay.
Germans reestablish their guard.
And now Sweden is forced to play the run back because of where that yellow guard is, where that Swedish guard is. It's still advantage Germany again. Even if they do make it, Germans are going to be able to get into the top of the button first. Straight back. Double. Again, the risk of running your opponent's stone back is leaving it there.
First shot of this 10th end for the Swedish skip, going for the run back. He gets a piece of it and gets it out of the house.
Great shot. And
fantastic.
What a phenomenal shot.
And the fact that he over-curled the guard and made the run back split on that turn took away a center guard as well.
His wife Ulrika cannot bear to watch.
Watch the shooter. Watch where the shooter rolls to. Corner guard. Phenomenal shot. The best the Germans can do now is get one into the edge of the 8-foot.
Big pressure shot for the two-time champion, Pia Lindholm of Sweden. Ulrika now looking a little bit more relaxed.
Well, Pea's getting it in his head right now. He's going to have to draw the forfeit to win. The best the Germans can do is an out-turn draw. If he absolutely dead buries it, he can probably get it to just biting the edge of the forfeit.
The last time there was a steal to win in a men's final was 1989, when Pat Ryan with Randy Ferbey defeated your good friend Patrick Hurleman 5-4.
That's right. Patrick had a fairly easy run back as well. He'll tell you it was a fairly easy shot to win, but again, that's the pressure of the world final getting to you. But Lindholm and Nordin right now, I'm guarantee you they're much happier now than they were about 1 minute ago, knowing that they're going to have an opportunity to draw the forfeit to win this game.
Just before he gets into the hack, Sebastian Stock takes his second timeout.
This just might be letting Lindholm think about it a little bit. I don't think the decision's going to change for Stock.
Warum? Wenn wir halb versteckt sind, liegen wir besser. Weißt du? Richtig, aber da kann ich halt nachfahren. Also ich wollte jetzt nicht durcheinander bringen, aber weil du so gefragt hast, dann langsam.
Pia Lindholm on the cusp of a third world championship, with 2 rocks to play here in the 10th end.
Von außen spielen muss er den Raum machen. Wir sind halt näher am Vierfußband. Ja, aber auch nicht viel. Da können wir auch ganz Stefan, wenn er da kommen wir auch hin. Wenn er nahezu ganz dahinter geht.
Looking at the intern side a little bit might be a little bit easier.
With such a simple set of choices, in-turn or out-turn, makes you wonder whether they're doing this timeout just as a ploy to slow down the game.
Another look at Lindholm's shot.
That was so good. Phenomenal. Phenomenal to play that turn in across the face to get the shooter out of the way. That was the hard part, was getting the shooter to roll somewhere that Germany could not use it.
Na, den Hit bringt er. Na, dann spielt er drauf von außen. Na, also den
The German coach now on the ice with this young team. This 26-year-old skip.
Okay.
Sebastian Stock surveying his last rock of this game.
Und beißen im Vierfuß.
Ja. Lass uns Eis sagen. Wir stimmen uns mal schnell im Eis genau ab.
Ja. Okay. That's a good one.
Just mentioned briefly drawing to the top 12-foot right on the center line, forcing them to a wide path, but At the end of the day, it's an out-turn draw. Again, just an out-turn draw right to the edge of the 8-foot. The other option was just quickly looked at it, throwing it into this area, making the path into the rings a little more difficult, but I think this is the right call. They could almost bite a good chunk of the 4-foot, maybe get about half the 4-foot if they throw this into the right spot. Certainly want to make things as difficult as possible.
Once again, Ulrika Lindholm unwilling to watch. Final shot for Sebastian Stock, who has been good on 86% of 11 draws. This 12th, his biggest of the game.
Line's good.
Got lots of room by the guard.
3 sweepers on it now.
Late.
Trying to get it behind cover. To the edge of the 8-foot.
Would have liked that a little closer to the 4-foot.
Partially buried.
Super game is what they're saying to each other, and it was. Draw to the 8-foot. The only thing hard about it is the situation.
And now he can only stand and watch. This young man from Germany. Tremendous game for him. And you can hear the hush fall over this crowd of more than 3,800.
We'll know right away. Watch the sweepers.
Last rock here in the 10th for Peja Lindholm. He too has been good on 86% of his 9 draws today. Crowd anticipating a home victory. Line is good. Cleaning it now. And to the button. Victory for the 3rd time. The triple crown for the trade corner rink of Peja Lindholm. On home ice in Gävle, Sweden. This team of best friends, first winning a junior title in 1989 in Markham, now celebrate 3 world championships together. And what a gallant effort by this German team, as Sweden prevails by the narrowest of margins in a well-fought final. Peja Lindholm with a curling hat trick in one of the great homes of hockey in Sweden. The 5th World Championship in men's curling for Sweden. Ford World Curling Championships live on CBC. Brought to you by Nokia, official wireless phone of the Season of Champions. By Karcher, you'll look for things to clean. And by Ford, built for life in Canada.
Isn't it fitting? Yellowstone, the team in yellow, Pia Lindholm, faced with drawing to the button against two German stones. There it is. Yellow and blue is all you see, and there's the reaction from Pia Lindholm. Now 3 times the world champion, 7-6, the final over Germany. Ulrike, his wife, celebrates in the stands. Right now, here's Joan McCusker with the man of the moment.
Thanks, Scott. Congratulations, Pia Lindholm, on a 3rd world title. What's left for you to do?
The Olympics, that's for sure, the Olympics.
So this will be a stepping stone. What will you do next to prepare for the Olympics?
Have a good banquet tonight, have a relaxing few weeks, and then analyze this season and planning the next one, and we're going to be prepared for the Olympics.
With this record crowd here in Sweden for a curling event, will this change the development in this country?
Oh yeah, definitely. The Worlds was held in Sweden, Karlstad in '77 when Ragnar Kamp won it. And that was enormous for Swedish curling. And this will be a lot better.
Congratulations, Pia, and good luck to you.
Thank you.
And there's a live look at Pia Lindholm, his wife Ulrike, their child in the stands at the Rinken in Gävle. A 3rd world championship for Pia Lindholm and his group from Sweden, including Thomas Nordin, Magnus Swartling, and Pia Narup. Right now, let's go to the championship presentations.
Ladies and gentlemen, the winners and the gold medalists of the 2004 Ford World Curling Championships, representing Sweden, Team Pia Lindholm.
And now the walk of victory for the 3-time world champions, the Pia Lindholm rink of Sweden. With 3rd, Thomas Nordin, 2nd, Magnus Swartling, and lead, Peter Narup. And what a tradition they're carrying on in this curling country. Elizabeth Gustafsson, also of Sweden, the only 4-time winner of the Women's World Championship, as everyone stands here in the Gävle Rinken to celebrate this team from Sweden. They got here with a steal in the final end against the Olympic champion Paul Trolson in the semifinal. Just 4 or 5 centimeters away from being here themselves, the Norwegians, and they made good on the opportunity, facing 2 German counters. The veteran Swedish skip drawing to the button for victory.
Ladies and gentlemen, the President of the World Curling Federation, Mr. Rose Sinclair, will now present the championship trophy to the world champions of the 2004 World Curling Championships.
Perfect, Roy.
As you know, it's a little heavy.
Thank you.
He still looks intense. The Triple Crown for the Tre Kronor. The Pia Lindholm rink of Sweden, with Ulrika and son Victor enjoying the moment. A standing ovation for the champions from Sweden. We're back to wrap up in Gävle right after this.
Pia Lindholm and the Swedish 4, a 3rd World Championship victory, 7-6 over Sebastian Stock and his young rink from Germany. There are Mark Lee, Joan McCusker, and Mike Harris at a nice warm rink over in Sweden. Mark.
Thank you, Scott. Well, it's really warmed up here with the home side winning. What a tremendous men's final. The Cinderella team from Germany not wearing the glass slipper here today, but they pushed Sweden right to the last rock, and Lindholm came through when it counted.
He came through huge, especially the 8th end. The steal of 2 and 8 were 2 of Pea's shots, and then the run back on his first one was better than the draw even. I mean, the draw to the forfeit to win the game was set up by his first zone, and full credit to Team Sweden playing in front of the home crowd, and they can't be happier, and they deserve to win the game today.
Mark Dacey earlier in the day winning the bronze medal for the men. Colleen Jones yesterday her second world championship for Canada. Pretty good weekend.
Oh, a great showing by both Canadian teams. As I said during the telecast, Mark Dacey was the class of the field. A little short yesterday when he came up against this great German team, but looked very good and won the bronze medal. And Colleen Jones worked all year for this moment, this weekend, to win another Worlds, and we're very, very proud of her.
Now the focus changes next year to the Olympic trials.
It certainly does, and I know Colleen Jones' goal is to keep going from here, keep changing, keep evolving. Their goal is to represent Canada at the Olympics.
Bruce Lonis and the Canadian men receiving their bronze medal, the first Canadian team to actually win the bronze. I know curling's a lot like hockey. If we can't play for the gold, we don't feel like playing at all, but I thought he really braved it today.
He did a good job today, and it's a lot better going home on a winning note than a losing note, and make the summer that much more pleasant for the whole team.
A fitting ending here for the home team, Scott, in Sweden, as Pia Lindholm wins his 3rd World Championship.
Right, Mark, world curling supremacy to Sweden for now. Our championship coverage from Gävle in Sweden will continue in just a moment. Tell you what, Pia is pumped after another World Championship victory. He becomes the 3rd man to win 3. Ron Northcott and Ernie Richardson are the others. Ernie takes the cake, though. He's got 4 to his credit. Well, what a wonderful way to end the season. It was a nail-biter. The home team wins, and a record to see curling in Sweden. The roaring game is well on its way in Europe. Hockey night in Canada, the Eastern Semis. Montreal at Tampa Bay, 4 Eastern. Lightning lead the series 1-0. That's followed by Toronto at Philly. Prime time in the East. Flyers are up by 1. And so ends our championship curling season on CBC. It's a road well traveled by so many rinks along the way. Canada's Colleen Jones at the pinnacle. Thanks.